Elder brother, why have you come? This is, Tang Lianxin was currently inside the immortal's abode refining a heavenly spirit astral treasure, phoenix perching red clouds clothes, for Gongsun Huang when she sensed the immortal's abode had signs of activity and went forward to welcome Su Xing. Seeing Su Xing and two girls whom she had never met appear at the same time, she was temporarily blank. Lianxin, this is bright star 10 feet of blue Hu Niangzi and damaged star white stripe in the waves Zhang Yuqi, Su Xing introduced. Tang Lianxin showed astonishment. She slightly nodded her head, gazing at Su Xing with an expression full of inquisitiveness. Su Xing then explained the short version of the events that transpired. Even with Tang Lianxin's detached personality, she was somewhat unable to believe the twists and turns within. Solitary star gold coin spotted leopard Tang Long. You're really the solitary star. Zhang Yuqi covered her mouth. She looked at that great sun essence butterfly somewhat as if she was in a dream. Elder sister, as you please. Tang Lianxin replied with her customary aloofness. Did you actually contract 10 sisters? Zhang Yuqi asked, stupefied. What's the point in fooling you? Su Xing smiled, gazing at the bright star. When Hu Niangzi heard this, she actually was briefly shocked. Afterwards, she did not bat an eyelid. How is this possible? Zhang Yuqi frowned. Contracting 10 star generals was unprecedented. Could it be that Maiden Mountain changed the rules? Everything is possible. Su Xing smiled. Zhang Yuqi's head hurt so much that she might as well have just stopped thinking. She turned to look at Su Xing's void immortal's abode. Clicking her tongue, the abundant spiritual power far exceeded any ley line that Zhang Yuqi had ever seen. Furthermore, the center of the immortal's abode was full of serene mountains, forests, and lakes. Everything that should have been there was there. She could even hear the sounds of birds and bugs, as if this was a world unto itself. The purple star outlaw writ, with young Su here, the other star masters of this generation would cry without tears. It looks like this generation's overlord is young Su, exclusively. Little sister Niangzi is truly very fortunate. Zhang Yuqi laughed. Hearing her words, Su Xing and Tang Lianxin were not happy at all. Recalling Maiden Mountain's trials, Tang Lianxin's ice-cold pupils were even more frigid. What's wrong? Zhang Yuqi was confused. Nothing, this sort of thing can be mentioned later. Su Xing did not wish to bring up this topic. Zhang Yuqi stared curiously at Su Xing but did not pursue her question. Why are the other elder sisters not present? Hu Niangzi asked. They've all gone out to take care of some things. Does dear husband not have the sisters follow at your side? Hu Niangzi felt that she could not understand. Having contracted so many sisters yet having none at his side, what was the use? Su Xing forced a smile. There was no way around this. If they still could have stayed together like this, he would have liked to see that. Perhaps Maiden Mountain would have also liked to have seen that, but his strength could not possibly grow further. Little sister Niangzi does not understand this. They definitely have gone to upgrade star weapons. With so many sisters together, is that not able to turn all of Liangshan continent on its head? Zhang Yuqi smiled. Hu Niangzi was silent. Elder brother, did you meet with trouble for the Gen Wu Divine Iron? Tang Lianxin asked at this time. Su Xing remembered this matter. He flipped his hand, and 12 pieces of Gen Wu Divine Iron flew out of his astral bag. Many thanks to Yuqi, things were much more smooth than I had imagined. Tang Lianxin cast a look of thanks at Zhang Yuqi. If elder sister is in need, Lianxin can help elder sister refine a few astral tools and treasures. Don't mention it. Actually, Yuqi also made a deal with young Su before, it wasn't free. Zhang Yuqi waved her hand. Su Xing again explained things. Tang Lianxin did not say anything. Lianxin, how long will it take roughly to refine this Gen Wu Divine Iron? Su Xing asked. Gen Wu Divine Iron was a top-notch earth-type spirit stone. Its hardness could be compared to the ancient holy beast, Gen Wu, from which it received the name. However, because Gen Wu Divine Iron was honestly too difficult to refine, this was an enormous challenge for a tool refinement master. If a normal cultivator wanted to use Gen Wu Divine Iron to refine a flying sword, it would require at least several years. Continuously using Dan fire to smelt it, it was possible to turn it into materials to refine flying swords. However, even if it was one of Liangshan continent's tool refinement sect master, perhaps Zhu Yueka could only reduce the time by only a half. If it was before, even if Su Xing had obtained the Gen Wu Divine Iron, perhaps it would have no use. Just with the solitary star here, even if Tang Lianxin was a top-notch tool refinement sect master, she would be ashamed of her inferiority. She had the Great Sun Essence Flame Butterfly's assistance as a tool refining star beast, and it could greatly reduce the time, but even so, Tang Lianxin reckoned she would need around 40 days. However, 40 days was still too long. Lianxin will prepare to return to the sect and borrow the sect's 4 styles earthly fire ley line with master to cut the time in half. Tang Lianxin said. To shrink 1 year into 20 days, this was already the greatest limit of what the solitary star could achieve. Black Turtle Temple was after 15 days. It was a pity that he could not make it in time, but Su Xing naturally could not plead too much. Lianxin, then I'll have to trouble you. Elder brother does not need to talk about trouble. Tang Lianxin's eyes were somewhat dry. This is the only thing that Lianxin can do to help elder brother. Don't say something so dejecting, we're letting Niangzi see something laughable. You were willing to stay by my side, I'm already very happy. Su Xing then hugged Tang Lianxin's shoulder. There was no time to lose. Tang Lianxin did not have time to delay any further. She took the 12 pieces of Gen Wu Divine Iron, turned and moved from the Black Turtle Territory Immortal's Abode to the 4 Styles School's Immortal Abode to begin putting her hand into helping Su Xing refine the Gen Wu Divine Iron. Zhang Yuqi was very curious about Su Xing's sect and followed over, having the sense to leave the Immortal's Abode to just the 2 of Su Xing and Niangzi. They're all very good people. Niangzi, you needn't worry too much. Su Xing saw that Niangzi's expression concealed a bit of unease, and then he consoled her. Niangzi shook her head, tightly pursing her lips, rousing her courage to ask, Dear husband, are you still willing to help complete Niangzi's wish? I keep my promises. Even if you don't talk, know this. Yingmei, Xiao, and the others won't ignore you. Su Xing tenderly said. Dear husband and the sisters get along very well. Niangzi's expression was complex. Su Xing knew what she was thinking. Niangzi had forced a contract on Hip upon seeing his cultivation. She wanted to seize the chance and use him to face Guaning. Before this, Niangzi more or less was somewhat arrogant, but today, knowing Su Xing still had other sisters following him, in addition to each one being well-renowned far and wide, shaking Liangshan, Niangzi's heart was ill at ease. In Niangzi's eyes, her conduct was more or less unbearable. Although vengeance was promising, her heart nevertheless had a bit of regret. When Su Xing introduced her, he did not mention the forced contract at all, more or less because he understood her thoughts. He patted the girl's shoulder, saying apologetically, Don't bring trouble on yourself. Actually, I wanted to secretly tell you, I really wanted to sign a contract with you too, including White Stripe in the Waves. Dear husband, you are somewhat greedy. And, I feel the same way. However, greed is always better than you sisters slaughtering each other. Su Xing shook his head, sorrowful. Although he was unintentionally inducted into the star duels, but star generals signed contracts to serve their masters. At that time, how could there be any feelings to speak of? If you did not kill, then I would. However, Su Xing also knew that his own wish was only wishful thinking. Niangzi showed an odd expression. You can rest for now. Su Xing said. Niangzi nodded. After Su Xing left, the bright star lowered her head and clenched her teeth. She made a decision, Inger, wait until after this wife kills Guaning and her star master. Then, this wife will come to Maiden Mountain to join you. Dear husband has so many sisters, Niangzi does not need to worry about him. Niangzi muttered to herself, fully revealing her sadness. Two supercluster disciples of the Fiend's soul sect flew above the sky on their riding swords. The flying swords became soul shadows, sweeping past with black tails. The Black Turtle Temple was about to open, and the Fiend's soul sect gave its disciples leaving seclusion specially refined, soul-refining swords, for protection. Even astral tools cannot compare to these flying swords. One disciple complacently said. This is thanks to junior brother Jiang Shiyu. Otherwise, how could we have the sect's secret flying sword? The soul-refining swords are so powerful, I wonder how powerful the headmaster's inheritance, the flying soul-scattered spirit sword, too, that junior brother Jiang Shiyu obtained is. However, it still cannot compare to Devil Star Palace's great Saint Starkiller. Do you feel that Master will actually move out with full force for this Black Turtle Temple? Of course. The Fiend Soul sect is a four-great devil sect, and junior brother Jiang Shiyu is a star master. This Black Turtle Temple's good fortune pill, Master is even relying on him. I hear if he does not take a few back, junior brother will suffer. The two laughed as they rejoice in his impending misfortune. Truly, he is a pitiable junior brother, to surprisingly have to contend against great Saint Starkiller. Who let him be a star master? Shall we help him when the time comes? Save yourself first. Reasonable. However, with this soul-refining flying sword, we can still outrun what we cannot outfight. The man self-confidently said. Where is the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion? The two were currently lost in their chat. This sudden sentence entered their ears and scared them into nearly shouting out loud. Lifting their heads to look, an exceedingly refined and cute little girl was currently staring at them. She appeared young and tender, but her expression nevertheless emitted a kind of pressure that made the pair incapable of drawing breath. Supervoid Cultivator. Run! Without another thought, the two Fiend's Soul sect disciples fled 1,000 meters away on the riding swords. They were considerably confident that with this absolute flying sword, they could run away without any problems. Gongsun Huang blinked. Her feet tread on clouds, and she nimbly flashed by. That girl is so small, could she be the legendary dragon in the clouds? We must inform the headmaster that the dragon in the clouds has come. However, why was she asking about the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion? Could it be, run first? In the blink of an eye, they pierced 100 li through the clouds. All of a sudden, a figure descended and blocked their way. The two disciples were frightened enough their souls flew and their spirits scattered. They did not expect the speed of the girls wandering the clear skies would be much fiercer than the soul-refining flying swords. Gongsun Huang's innate skill naturally could not be compared with a flying sword. She extended a hand and pointed. A whirlwind trapped the two. Where is the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion? Gongsun Huang's voice was spotless. The Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion is at Eastern Mountain Island. Go east 1,300 li, and you can see it. The two disciples promptly said. Gongsun Huang's figure vanished. The pressure on the two diminished. Each looked at the other in shock. Before they could breathe a sigh of relief, suddenly, you should not have stirred evil ideas just now. The gale surrounding them roared like a dragon. The two of them screamed, and their silhouettes immediately disappeared completely, not leaving even the slightest trace. Those soul-refining flying swords became masterless soulights that fled. Gongsun Huang reappeared where she was. Gazing at the flying swords flying away, she cocked her head as if she was thinking. Then, without uttering a word, she turned and flew towards Eastern Mountain Island. The Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion enjoyed a reputation in this region, not just because of the food there, but rather for the person who opened the restaurant. The mistress of the restaurant was the 101st ranked star female Tiger Gu Deseo. To be able to receive the hospitality of Maiden Mountain Star Maidens naturally was very satisfying for the vanity of a cultivator. Since there was a star maiden keeping watch, naturally many star masters would snoop around, but in nearly 4 years, no starfalls had ever come from inside the restaurant. The reason was very simple. It was rumored that the restaurant had at least 7 or 8 star maidens gathered together. If any one star master dared to make a move, the star generals of the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion would unite against the enemy. The most famous case was that reportedly, a star master from the Azure Dragon territory named Di Long, too, brought his star maiden, the 97th ranked earthly detective star Green-Eyed Tiger Li Yun, Li E/Yun, 3, to the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion. They were unaware of the mysterious principles behind the star duels, and the result was that they were afflicted with the no-mood wine and suffered a starfall. Green-Eyed Tiger Li Yun's star weapon Black Wind Slashing Ring Saber, 5, was actually still hung above the main hall of the restaurant, a warning to every cultivator to be careful. On this day, Gu Tong was currently counting the bills. Nearby, the somewhat drunk Xinyue closed her eyes. "Tonger, what is the point in counting this money? We are not noble star Chai Jin, and neither can we take it with us." "Humph, Xinyue, do you think that you can keep a restaurant without money?" Gu Tong snorted. On her shoulder lay a very marten-like lion-headed star beast, the tiger marten. 6. The tiger marten called out several times, baring its fangs. "Go!" Xinyue shooed this star beast, throwing a bone. The tiger marten actually went to chase. "I feel that mistress is calculating a dowry, waiting for a lord husband she has yet to meet." The Li Bailian wearing a white qipao smiled very elegantly. The others laughed at what they heard. This matter had some background to it. When Bai Yutang originally returned, in actuality, she made the elder sisters in the restaurant worried endlessly. Zhou Ku explained what happened in Evil Smiting Hall, not hiding the papa that Bai Yutang recognized in Evil Smiting Hall. At that time, they were delighted. It was known that in this restaurant, Gu Deseo's maternal love was overflowing. She considered herself Candy's mama. Candy was not making her find a lord husband without good cause. Gu Tong promptly blushed. "This old lady truly has supported you all for nothing. Tang Tang has been deceived by a star master inside Evil Smiting Hall, yet you are still rejoicing in this misfortune. Candy seems to rather like him." Xinyue took a swig of wine. "Right. That man even saved Candy. If he actually is harboring ulterior motives, then he would have already star-dueled." Li Bailian agreed, laughing into her sleeve. "Bailian is honestly somewhat looking forward to Candy's papa." "Humph, you are still pretending. It is not as if you do not know of Candy's wine fermentation ability. The matter of previous star masters exploiting other spiritual power star generals is not uncommon. I feel that it is likely he is exploiting Candy. By the time the star duels end, he will show his true face." "Humph. This old lady has operated in Eastern Mountain Island for several years. I have seen every face of the star cultivator." Gu Tong gnashed her teeth and bared her fangs. There was nothing incorrect with what she said, but to be able to let go of Zhou Ku and even let go of Candy, this price was unavoidably too great. Furthermore, does that man not want to sign a contract with Tang Tang? "This is a great thing," Xinyue drunkenly said. If he truly can protect Candy." Li Bailian giggled. Gu Tong was rarely without a retort. In actuality, the female tiger was very clear about the current situation. Let alone that the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion had 7 sisters, at the present phase, not only were Gu Tong and the other sisters very clear that they lived day by day, already as if every day would be their last. Although they already finished their preparations for Starfall, whenever they talked about Rat Star by Yutang, their hearts nevertheless were unwilling to part. Gu Tong even recalled the scene of when she first saw Bai Yutang. Even the eyes of the female tiger of unyielding heart watered then. At that time, she had entered the city to buy grains to make wine. She caught sight of Bai Yutang huddled in a dark and damp corner. The girl was so filthy her appearance was practically obscured. Beside her was a rat acting as a companion. What she ate was the leftovers of the rat's food. Gu Tong took her home on the spot and only afterwards discovered that she was surprisingly their little sister. How Bai Yutang spent the last few years, just thinking about it was enough to make Gu Tong's tear pour like rain. Ever since then, Gu Tong hated Maiden Mountain's cruelty to death and secretly swore to protect Bai Yutong. Even if she were to starfall, she would never allow anyone to sully this poor thing. As if this old lady ever cared what sort of person he is. If he does not treat Tang Tang well, this old lady will definitely kill him. Gu Tong wiped her eyes. Li Bailian and Xin Yue forced on a smile. They knew she was remembering the past. The Black Turtle territory is so big, that man will not be so quick to find us. If he actually finds us, we will not let him easily take Tang Tang away. Xin Yue patted Gu Tong to comfort her. This old lady ponders that the Black Turtle territory has not been too peaceful as of late. Should we leave this place for now? We will also need to buy some protective astral treasures, Gu Tong voiced her thinking. Tang Tang right now still is incapable of dark rank wine fermentation. I also think we ought to help Tang Tang find those wine fermentation materials. I do not have an opinion about this, but there is actually no need to leave. Mama. A clean voice interrupted them. Gu Tong lifted her head and saw Zhou Ke carrying Bai Yutong down the stairs. Little Candy adorably spread open her arms, and Gu Tong's heart warmed up as she hugged her. All my life has been spent in the contentment of drunken stupor. The Shi Meng, 7, sitting on the stone lion outside the restaurant drank a large mouthful of wine, casted a sideways glance at the scene inside and sighed. Suddenly, a fireball appeared in the sky and approached. Before Shi Meng could take a careful look, that fireball gently landed on a rock in the courtyard outside of the restaurant. The flames vanished, and what appeared was an extremely magnificent phoenix that seemingly had an empress authority. She gracefully spread her wings, greatly shocking the other cultivators, who escaped without a trace. Shi Meng was seemingly doused awake by a bucket of ice water from head to toe. Her mouth hung agape, and she was dumb as a wooden chicken. From upon the graceful phoenix walked down a similarly fairy-like little girl. Undoubtedly, her age appeared to be very small, but her each and every movement emitted a swift and severe pressure. Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion. Gongsun Huang lifted her head to look at the signboard and nodded. She spotted at the staring Shi Meng. Blinking, she asked, "Does Bai Yutong live here? What do you think you are doing?" The skin of Shi Meng's whole body was stretched taut, changing from her previous indolence. Respectfully presenting His Highness orders, little Huang has come to take her away. Gongsun Huang took a step forward. His Highness? Whoever you are, the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion is not a place that lets you take away whomever you please. Shi Meng shouted, "Guardian Stone Lion, come out." The stone lion that was like a relief suddenly awoke from its slumber. Its eyes glowed with golden light, and it roared. Gongsun Huang cocked her head. "Menger, what is happening?" Gu Tong at this time waited until people left the restaurant, and she was stifled the moment she saw that phoenix. New heavenly phoenix. Elder sister little Huang. Candy cried out in pleasant surprise. Gu Tong was taken aback, hugging Bai Yutong even tighter. "You are the leisure star dragon in the clouds." Gongsun Huang. Rustle, rustle. 5 star maidens each gripping star weapons appeared left and right. They stared right at Gongsun Huang. Gongsun Huang blinked. She extended a hand towards Bai Yutong, a gesture of invitation. Bai Yutong extended her hand yet somewhat hesitantly lifted her head to look at her mama. Gongsun Huang, His Highness can stop thinking of using flowery language to deceive Tang Tang. Is this even a man? To unexpectedly deceive a girl who does not bother herself with the world, fancy that you are the ranked 4th elder sister. Could it be you have steeled yourself? Gu Tong said with a strict tone. Gongsun Huang blinked. His Highness is a good person. Give this old lady a break. Why has he sent you? Since he wishes to pick up Tang Tang, why does he not come himself? Does he not have even the slightest bit of good faith? Gu Tong sneered. Mama. Bai Yutong's little hand tugged at Gu Tong's collar. Tang Tang, look clearly at the true face of the Star Master. If he truly cares about you, why has he not personally come? Do not be deceived by these star masters. These star masters are merely exploiting us. He deserves to rot in hell. Gu Tong gravely said. Bai Yutang lightly bit her lip, her limpid pupils gazing at Gongsun Huang. His Highness has matters to attend to. Gongsun Huang furrowed her brows. She walked forward a step. I actually want to teach the number 1 in magic energy dragon entering the clouds a lesson. Shi Meng shouted. The guardian stone lion at her side roared and charged, and she herself thereupon disappeared. Her fist seemed to be like iron and stone, impressively raising wind. Gongsun Huang waved her hand, making the new heavenly phoenix halt its attack. She looked expressionlessly at Shi Meng's fist. Her hair was blown upwards as she stared right into the chilly astral wind blowing in her face. Gongsun Huang's pupils flashed. Yellow rank boxing, landslide. 8, bang. The power of the fist ended in front of Gongsun Huang's face. Shi Meng was shocked to discover she was surprisingly unable to take another step forward. Little Huang can only take her force by then. Gongsun Huang indifferently said, forming a hand seal. An enormous force knocked Shi Meng's body away. The guardian stone lion at this time pounced. Gongsun Huang manifested the pine brand ancient sword and pointed it. A green airflow blew the guardian stone lion's whole body, cracking its stone skin. Gongsun Huang, do not be arrogant. On that side, Xin Yue, Zhou Ku, and Li Bailian acted together at the same time Shi Meng was blasted away. Everyone was a star general, each of their foreheads twinkled with star crests. Swift wind half-moon slash. 9, scarred all over body. White bones whine. Bang 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 bang. Multicolored lights splashed everywhere. The earth quakes, and the mountains shook. Impossible. A barrier unfolded around Gongsun Huang's body, blocking all of their vigorous attacks. Gongsun Huang waved her sword and drew an arc, directly repelling their assault. Gongsun Huang pointed. She released star magic. A deep hole was blown into the plaza. Suddenly, at this moment, a chill attacked from behind. Gongsun Huang took a glance, and a crafty black shadow appeared. Bang! Without any pause, it was blocked by star magic. That black shadow turned into a slender and black star beast. This great saint is here, look at breaking shadow. 10. A black sword shadow stabbed in a blind spot, the white bones wine sprinkled, and the barrier disappeared. There was a crisp cracking sound. Gongsun Huang's sword blocked the hidden weapon. Her gaze concentrated, and the sneak-attacking newcomer was immediately knocked flying by her star magic. The young girl brushed away the blood at the corner of her mouth and stared at Gongsun Huang. To think of taking away Tang Tang, you will have to step over our bodies. Xin Yue, Li Bailian, and the others once again stood up. They coldly glared at Gongsun Huang. They had completely released their star beasts, and their imposing auras shook people into being unable to look directly at them. Gongsun Huang blinked under this domineering aura. She was even calm, as if her attitude was saying, is it so simple? The star generals glanced at each other, nodding in tacit agreement. In the next instant, their star beasts launched an attack. The new heavenly phoenix spread its wings. Its might quaked, and thereupon at the same time, their destined star weapons showed different colored glows. With fierce stances, those beautiful figures launched towards Gongsun Huang. The spring breeze drunken rain pavilion star maidens fully displayed the tacit coordination and severe styles that was perfected over the last few years. Gongsun Huang was still calm as before, without any wave of shock. Her pupils abruptly emitted multicolored light, her body techniques shifted, and afterimages emerged in layers. The dragon in the clouds' magic energy already begun to mobilize. The next instant, Gongsun Huang waved the pine brand ancient sword, using a wind rolls the clouds. Then, the girl's figure was like a graceful breeze. She abruptly disappeared, suddenly blending into the air. She completely ignored the little sister's all-encompassing offensive. Gongsun Huang's flashed by with super powerful awareness. Instantly, she shifted several zhang of space and arrived at Li Bailian's side. Without a words, the pine brand ancient sword directly slashed diagonally. Although she did not have that sort of lethal weapon that a martial force star general had, even the pine brand ancient sword could be barely used for battle. However, using it to confront them was enough. The star energy on the sword circulated, and a force more powerful than at any other time came out of the sword. In the face of these sisters' anger, this was the first time Gongsun Huang had released her power without any restraint. With a simple wave, yet not as much as before, there was a hurricane fast to the point that their figures became obscured. Immediately after the sword slashed, the air suddenly let out a soft noise, as if something had cracked. A clear, black line immediately emerged, drawing a complete trajectory. The azure dragon bit. Li Bailian's complexion changed, basically unable to react. The cup of wine in her hands spilled out, becoming a poison fog. She hastily used her hands to protect herself, releasing star energy defenses at full power. Milky white waves suddenly surged like a tide. A distinctly visible protective screen immediately appeared before Gongsun Huang's eyes, slamming without ceremony into the magic energy that Gongsun Huang's pine brand ancient sword brought. Ka-cha! A crisp crack once again sounded out, not the violent reaction they had imagined. Gongsun Huang's star magic appeared dull but was actually incomparably valiant. Li Bailian's white defenses broke as easily as chicken eggs. The path the azure dragon bit was like a lightning bolt, a fleeting flash. The gale in the pair's surroundings suddenly intensified. The squall blew hard, and Li Bailian stumbled backwards, somewhat in disbelief. Then, her whole body hurt as she was sent flying. What a terrifying attack! Her pupils contracted, and Gu Tong's expression immediately became grave. The dragon in the clouds is so strong. During the activity of that seemingly simple star magic, it astonishingly contained power that not even all of their star weapons together were capable of blocking. It was sharper than the world's most legendary blades. Any more serious, these star magics could even surpass their star weapons. Just by using normal star magic, she unexpectedly could bring about destruction that surpassed the heaven-earth dark yellow. This sort of capability, let alone personally witnessing it, perhaps they would not have even heard of it. Gu Tong did not dare underestimate this. The other star maidens were soaked in sweat, tightly gritting their teeth. Watch this. Xinyue hastily strode forward, attempting to launch first before Gongsun Huang could execute her next attack. She absolutely was not the only one with this thinking. Practically at the same time that Li Bailian was knocked over, the others acted at the same time, cheering Gongsun Huang together. That tranquil lake in her eyes had the traces of a ripple. Instantly, Gongsun Huang's face unexpectedly showed slight graveness. The girl's body hovered in the air. Her legs nimbly spun, drawing out a wonderful, graceful, and peerlessly astounding arc to dodge Xinyue's attack. A gale rose everywhere, and her figure disappeared, already reappearing behind another one of the sisters. A movement without any excess. The most pure and simple attack. Break. Pfff, Shi Meng went pale from fright. Her whole body seemed to be bound in stone, heavily protecting herself. A glaring white light suddenly revolted. Perfect as a crescent moon, it drew a beautiful arc in the sky. Brushing past Shi Meng's abdomen, that layer of heavy rock armor immediately rose with the light, showing cracks. Shi Meng even thought of counterattacking. She did not know when the powerful magic energy had descended and uprooted her, throwing her aside. Cloud-traveling azure dragon turn. Gongsun Huang waved her sword, making a wonderful hand seal in the air. The white clouds were immediately stirred together by a fierce wind, forming an azure dragon that covered the entire spring breeze Drunken rain pavilion. Watch this. 10 darts appeared in the hands of the young girl in black skin-tight clothes. She threw the darts, which transformed into black pythons that battled the azure dragon. But that was no more than an instant. Gongsun Huang's star magic had only just left her hand when it once again blocked her attack. Then, Before the black-clothed girl could sense it, a completely indescribable power already drew near her front. The others were too late to react. The girl basically was unable to make any evasive movements. The powerful force slammed like a tide into her. Gongsun Huang's hair fluttered, and an astral wind immediately rocked the area. An airflow flew violently through, scattering a baleful aura in all directions. Countless giant rock splinters like sharp blades formed a frightening jungle of jagged stones. Bang! The girl was also beaten back. Immediately afterwards, Gongsun Huang disappeared. When she appeared, Zhou Ku was then sent flying. In that short instant, she had executed an entire attack plan. Following a feint attack, she switched to a deadly blow. However, in an instant, Gongsun Huang unexpectedly was then in front of 6 sisters, and she instantly defeated 3 people. If it was not for Gongsun Huang holding back, they would have already star-fallen. So powerful. This was the number 1 in magic energy dragon in the clouds. Gu Tong was shaken, powerlessness unexpectedly appearing in her heart. There was no chance of success against such a star general. Don't underestimate us. Xinyue's shout pulled the female tiger back from her powerlessness. Her blade unsheathed. But suddenly, a chill immediately filled the entire space. The rocks in the ground exploded, and a terrifying killing intent condensed in the intense whirlwind. The space in a range of 100 zhang immediately was a vast expanse of whiteness, the temperature falling to an extreme low. The scene before them was enveloped in white, and their ears were crammed by a shrill whistle. At this sudden and intense change, Gongsun Huang held her sword horizontally, adopting a defensive posture. Xinyue nevertheless flashed away, disappeared from Gongsun Huang's line of sight. The girl was like a meteor full of destruction. The cold wind wreaked havoc in the air, and Gongsun Huang's expression was ice-cold. With her left hand shielding her face, her right hand attacked with star magic, carrying a powerful grandeur that jumped down from a peak. Watch this. This slash seemed to completely split apart the air. A heaven and earth-shaking crack arose, and immediately after her attack, the ground suddenly caved in. Killing intent violently shot out, waves of snow flew, and that substantive killing intent shook in a clamor. Even more fell down from the sky. In the icy mist, a giant circular pit suddenly appeared. A booming rumble. Xinyue's sword hacked, Gongsun Huang took a step back, and her figure suddenly disappeared from under the sword. By the time she raised her head, Gongsun Huang was already wandering high in the clouds. She released star magic. A violent fire fell from the heavens, like an unending meteor shower. Xinyue groaned and knelt on the ground, and black smoke soared around her whole body. Lioness from Hedong roars. 2. The female tiger set down candy, opened her mouth, and a tsunami-like soundwave rushed Gongsun Huang. 3. Countless gorgeous light rings disappeared and reappeared before Gongsun Huang. Her powerful magic energy defended against this attack. We will fight with you. The other sisters were unwilling to be defeated like this, and they were angered to the extreme. Gongsun Huang's eyes sunk. Suddenly, her imposing aura swelled. The power between heaven and earth seemed to be sucked away, and a frightening force concentrated before them. It made Gu Tong and the others change expressions. It is a dark rank star magic. Elder sister Little Huang. In this chaos, a tender voice clean and untouched by filth pierced through the intense atmosphere. Gongsun Huang's eyes slowly restored their tranquility. Quietly, she landed in front of the restaurant and extended her hand towards Bai Yutang. Bai Yutang bit her lip, miserably shaking her head. She looked to her mama, her elder sisters, and she ran up to them. She handed over carefree without a worry, her expression very self-blaming. If your man truly has sincerity, then have him come in person. Otherwise, even if we die, we will not let you take Tang Tang away. Gu Tong's face was pale, but she nevertheless did not concede defeat. Gongsun Huang stared at Bai Yutang and contemplated for a long while. She then lifted her head and called out. Di Nu, you stay here. The new heavenly phoenix that had just trampled all over the girl's star beasts chirped. Without looking at them, Gongsun Huang soared into the sky, and then she disappeared into the sea of clouds. Mama, sorry, Tang Tang brought trouble to Mama and elder sisters. Bai Yutong rubbed her nose. That dragon in the clouds is so powerful. We completely were not opponents. This star beast must be the new heavenly phoenix. Just how did that man obtain it? Do not blame yourself. If your papa truly can contract you, Mama will be very happy. Gu Tong stroked Bai Yutong's head, tenderly speaking. With an elder sister like Gongsun Huang protecting her, she is indeed in better hands than we can offer. Xinyue was both happy and helpless. This old lady actually wants to see who that man is, to be unexpectedly capable of contracting Gongsun Sheng. Su Xing sneezed. Dear husband, what is the matter? Niangzi asked. Su Xing shook his head. He felt as if someone was thinking about him just now. Do not be discourteous in front of the water illusion fairy. Zhang Yuqi smiled. She seems to treat people very coldly. To be frank, Yuqi is somewhat worried whether or not elder sister can convince her. At this time, Su Xing and Zhang Yuqi were in the middle of going to meet that water illusion fairy. The meeting place was not some romantic bar and neither was it really a beautiful landscape. Rather, it was at a place in the Black Turtle Sea called Heavenly Fang Island. Is she so serious? Su Xing was bewildered. Young Su does not know, but for this opening of the Black Turtle Temple, those devil cults have established customs not allowing outsiders entry. Zhang Yuqi explained. Su Xing nodded. This point actually was within reason. So then, if we are going, then we have to have the proof of a sect. It just so happens that the water illusion fairy can help us. Zhang Yuqi said. What sort of person is this water illusion fairy? Su Xing curiously asked. She is the star master of the four great devil sects, illusion and reality sect. However, Yuqi knows that the water illusion fairy seems to have come from the Azure Dragon territory. Afterwards, there was a time when she was nearly about to die in the deep seas. Elder sister liked what she saw in her, and then she signed a contract with her. After that, the illusion and reality sect fancied her. She cultivated the water illusion dark nether true technique, 5, with extreme innate talent. Thus, she was named the water illusion fairy. Zhang Yuqi smiled. The Black Turtle Territory, 6, truly likes this label. Su Xing nodded, noting that this girl was considerably legendary. However, the water illusion fairy does not believe in anyone else, and so Yuqi does not know if elder sister can convince her. Zhang Yuqi wrinkled her brow. What do we do if she can't? Su Xing smiled. Zhang Yuqi winked, then Yuqi can only plead for young Su to take action. Me? Su Xing did not know what he could do. Take her into your harem and get a blowjob. Zhang Yuqi laughed into her sleeve. I want to choke you to death. Su Xing was speechless. I do not agree. On a cliff above Heavenly Fang Island, a woman wearing a clean white palace dress tersely replied. Zhang Feiyu said, Water illusion fairy, this is but a request my little sister had for me. Are you always so unwilling to agree? Feiyu, you ought to know that star masters cannot be trusted. She unexpectedly wants to help a star master, could it be you did not dissuade her? The water illusion fairy sternly said. Thinking of some past matters, her expression was even colder. I will not collaborate with any man, even if it is that great Saint Starkiller. The water illusion fairy made clear her position. Boatman Zhang Feiyu was somewhat vexed. I already promised little sister, Shiyu, 7, this time do not be so obstinate. Although I, Feiyu, also feels that little sister is indeed going a bit too far, you do not know at all the sight she has for looking at people. For this Black Turtle Temple, I even offended the 3 wands. If we can have a helping hand, would that not be even better? You would believe in that man so much that you would think of your little sister. I feel he is only thinking of going to Black Turtle Temple. When he obtains that good fortune pill, he will then show his true colors. The water illusion fairy insisted. I already promised him that we would meet here. You take a look first. Feiyu, feels that he is rather pretty good. Zhang Feiyu stroked her chin. The water illusion fair wrinkled her brow and asked, could it be that Zhang Yuqi fancies that man to become her star master? If that is true, then great. The boatman laughed. The water illusion fairy did not need to speak, but she still was considerably conflicted in believing other men. In this life, Shiyu will believe in only one man. As for other men, Shiyu does not wish to so much as look. You speak of that man who saved you before. Liangshan continent is so vast. Where would you go search for him? It is better to forget about it. Furthermore, Shiyu, you are a star master. What can you do even if you found him? Zhang Feiyu had heard the water illusion fairy mention this once. Zhang Feiyu knew that the reason she was so unwilling to believe others was because of her past experiences. Within her history, there appeared a man that had saved her, bestowing upon her his own life-saving talisman, to the extent that the water illusion fairy would never forget. However, in the boatman's perspective, this honestly was too meaningless. In brief, Shiyu, you observe him for a bit. Then, if at that time you do not like him, we will worry later. Zhang Feiyu rudely made her determination. The water illusion fairy knew Zhang Feiyu's personality. Let alone that she was a star general, but she needed to weigh the care she had for her little sister. Then Shiyu shall give him 3 moves. If he does not have strength, then don't mention going to Black Turtle Temple. This is good. Zhang Feiyu's eyes glinted. To be frank, she had not seen Su Xing's strength, and she was rather curious about how her little sister's eyesight was. Do not talk for now. High tide is starting. Those heavenly Fang snake demons ought to appear. Shiyu shall go drill in her swords. The water illusion fairy waved her hand, and a crystalline blue jade long spear appeared in her hand. 8. This spear's name was Lord Color. 9. A weapon refined from an ancient lost treasure. The reason why the water illusion fairy was so renowned in the Black Turtle territory was more or less related to her own strength. She was not like other star cultivators who trained in flying swords. The girl was very clear that in the future star duels, what truly dominated was not a star general but the star master themselves, so increasing her own strength could slightly increase her own chances of victory. Over a very long time, the water illusion fairy would use this Lord Color to search for demon beasts to train her spearmanship. She could not demand to contend against a star general and could only resist before a star general. The tide rose. The floating and flowing water could not feel the crisis of the undercurrent. The spray of the ocean rolled, and the water illusion fairy lowered her head and narrowed her eyes. Her eyes chilled, and a school of half-man, half-fish, half-serpent demon beasts climbed up. When the first monster showed up in a person's line of sight, one could not refrain from feeling fear. That was a monster possessing the gills of a monster fish, with a mouth full of fangs and a body of snake scales, but it nevertheless had 2 slim arms and exaggerated claws. The heavenly Fang snake demon was a kind of demon beast with extremely abundant fighting strength. Regardless of whether these snake demon monsters were on land or in the depths, they were extremely quick. The scale defenses on their bodies were very suitable for use as weapon training. Those giant claws in particular could crush a seal's skull alive. The heavenly Fang snake demons lived as a pack. Ordinarily, on Heavenly Fang Island, their numbers were roughly above several thousand. They were creatures that cultivators did not like dealing with at all, but to the water illusion fairy, this was a perfect training goal. The girl hefted her spear. Not enough, this little number of them is far from enough. It appears that I must have you feel that you have suffered humiliation. The water illusion fairy softly said and flew out. The heavenly Fang snake demons stared with those frightening pupils, hissing, brandishing their claws. Zhang Feiyu smiled from nearby and appreciated this sight for the eyes. The spear lifted, and a rain of blood fell. After a short while, the island was left with close to 50 heavenly Fang sea snake corpses on the island, and the girl was untouched, unstained by even a speck of blood. Bravo, bravo! She suddenly heard clapping. The water illusion fairy froze, and she suddenly whirled around. On a cliff, out walked a man and two women, somewhat glaring under the sunlight. The one clapping was that man. The girl's spectacle just now was witnessed by them, and Su Xing was considerably impressed. Little sister, you finally came. Elder sister was impatient. Zhang Feiyu said. They jumped down. Suddenly, the water illusion fairy was shaken. Her gaze stared fixedly at Su Xing. The indifference and stiffness she maintained before vanished into thin air in the blink of an eye. Her pupils shrunk, and her shoulders abruptly began to shudder. Shiyu? Zhang Yuqi was puzzled. The water illusion fairy bit her lip and stared at Su Xing. Her chest seemed to be crammed full of air, stifled and incapable of breathing. It is him. How could it be him? Looking at that smile, how could the water illusion fairy ever forget? Every sort of sentiment that had been buried in her heart suddenly bubbled forth. Her eyes carelessly grew moist. Shiyu? Zhang Feiyu opened her mouth. Did she not say that she was only meeting the man? Shiyu lowered her face and wiped her eyes. When she lifted her head, she had recovered her unchanging coldness. Su Xing felt that he had seen her somewhere before, but for the time being, he could not recall. However, seeing the young girl's dignified appearance, he probably had seen too many beautiful women and was feeling somewhat familiar. Su Xing did not mind and nodded, not forgetting to introduce himself with courtesy. Hello, your servant is Su Xing. Long have I heard of the water illusion fairy's fame. You can just call me Shiyu. Shiyu said, her voice inadvertently warming up. This sounded very jarring to Zhang Feiyu. Su Xing actually noticed that the water illusion fairy before him was far from as ice-cold and distant as Zhang Yuqi had said. She even appeared to be somewhat bashful, quite cute. Shiyu. Zhang Feiyu reminded. Elder sister must have told the water illusion fairy about our situation. Yuqi wonders if whether or not the water illusion fairy can help us a little. Zhang Yuqi smiled. Willing. Very willing. Extremely willing. Shiyu directly cried out in her heart, but she still forced herself to calm down. She could not forget her manners. Thinking, she said, I want to see Su Xing's strength. Zhang Yuqi and Niangzi looked to Su Xing. This was within expectations. Su Xing did not feel surprised, and he nodded his head in acquiescence. I am called Shiyu. You have taken a good look at me now. Shiyu said to Su Xing. Su Xing nodded. Shiyu shook her head. Very strange. Elder sister, what's the matter with her? Zhang Yuqi felt this was odd. I do not know. Zhang Feiyu shrugged her shoulders. She giggled, perhaps the man you fancy is very enticing, enough to make her change her ideas. We were even in conflict just now. So strange. Strange indeed. Su Xing, do not make me disappointed. The water illusion fairy's words had a double meaning. Just a light spar? Su Xing asked. The water illusion fairy seemed to want to ask something, but nevertheless she stopped. The next second, the water illusion fairy showed her spear, carving an ice-cold light in the air. Before Su Xing could have time to reflect, a cold net ripped it apart. Bearing the weight of the water illusion fairy's full power attack, there were no gaps at all, no cracks at all. The frozen air was ripped apart by a cold spear light, emitting a faint whistle. The spear tip so close at hand was like a bloodthirsty fang. Suddenly, it was in front of Su Xing's eyes. What he noted more nevertheless was that slight warmth in the girl's gaze. That warmth in her eyes was something strange that flowed fully over his body. Su Xing felt very odd. He noticed this spear appeared mighty, yet it did not have that soaring killing intent. The next instant, Su Xing made his move. Time between the two seemed to freeze. The water illusion fairy nodded, carrying slight praise. Not bad. You are a bit stronger than before. Before? Su Xing shrugged his shoulders, not understanding her word choice. Suddenly, man and sword shot over together, beginning a counterattack. Will you complete the second attack? The water illusion fairy softly said. The next instant, following his hacking motion, a several 100-meter wide purple thunder shot out from his palm. It directly pounced towards water illusion fairy Shiyu. The latter hastily withdrew, raising her spear to defend. Instantly, following the cover of Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, Su Xing's silhouette once again slashed. This time, the sharp edge broke through the water illusion fairy's defenses without slowing down at all. The water illusion fairy was considerably surprised by Su Xing's body techniques. But her next movement similarly made Su Xing incomparably surprised. The water illusion fairy's white figure disappeared like a phantom. The next second, that weapon already blocked Su Xing's attack path, hooked, stabbed and unexpectedly counterattacked. His excellent skill and technique immediately allowed the Su Xing that had seized the initiative to immediately sense that the young girl was not simple. The second spear still was executed by the water illusion fairy. They exchanged attacks at a speed that could not be followed by the naked eye, and the battling pair roamed about the entire sea area. From time to time, the air was brought over by a sharp slash, then immediately letting out a sharp and miserable wretched ripping sound. The luminous sparks and bounding afterimages appeared excessively dazzling in the eyes of the other star generals. These two are actually somewhat compatible. The spear's edge gracefully glimpsed, and Su Xing blocked it. In the next instant, his left hand's fingers snapped, launching purple thunder. The water illusion fairy spun, her clothes spry and lively. The sword in Su Xing's hand moved, and the killing intent scraped out of the air was then pared away, attached to the tip of his sword. Su Xing gripped his sword as he scampered away, his body like a roaming dragon, his two legs pumping, fast to the point they were a blur. Metal clanged. A hurricane and killing intent fluttered in succession. Practically before they could return to their senses, the two of them were already carrying out a battle. The exchanges of sword and spear could even be called extraordinarily fierce. White light burst, with light rays like chains. Purple thunder and wind interwove in the air, raising a scene beautiful to the extreme, and in the middle of this extremely beautiful scene, Zhang Yuqi, who Niangzi and Zhang Feiyu had already forgotten that the scene before them was a competition. Shiyu spun and attacked repeatedly, her figure coming across like wind. Have you really forgotten me? Shiyu spoke. Have we met before? Su Xing wrinkled his brow, taking a step back. Suddenly, he raised his sword, having noticed a gap. Su Xing quickly closed in, his hand seizing the water illusion fairy's white wrist. Immediately afterwards, he pressed his sword against the young girl's delicate neck. Who could have anticipated that water illusion fairy Shiyu would be grabbed by Su Xing? Who knew whether or not this was the first time she was so close to a man or if she was actually powerless, but she instantly fell powerlessly backwards, laying against Su Xing's chest. Her eyes glimmered, both unangry and unresentful. Her cheeks were the color of peach blossoms, with an abundance of tender sentiments. Su Xing was flabbergasted. What sort of expression is this? Don't you think she looks a bit love-struck? Shall we continue? Su Xing wrinkled his brow. His hand flexed, about to push the girl aside. How could he have foreseen that Shiyu would grab the corners of his clothes, not allowing him to do so? Su Xing, at that time in Flower Dragon Cave, you saved me. Did you really forget? Shiyu whispered. Did I save you at Flower Dragon Cave? Su Xing could not recall. The sole memory was the Gong Kai Wei stricken with the dragon's fluids. You gave me a water escape talisman. Shiyu did not give up at all. Opening up chapter 44 Blood Rain Pot, Su Xing suddenly recalled, It's you? Shiyu nodded, full of tender feelings, gently biting her lip. To Su Xing, that day was perhaps merely slight effort, but to Shiyu, this nevertheless had a very serious effect. In fact, among the star cultivators that took killing and plundering people to be mainstream, that action of Su Xing's that was done in passing was a bit non-mainstream in meaning. However, what made Shiyu never forget was that Su Xing gave her his own life-saving talisman, without even asking for her name. On that day, Shiyu engraved Su Xing into her heart. Unexpectedly, after thinking of him day and night, feelings for him blossomed after a long time. She did not know when, but her feelings for him were already very deep. Others knew that the water illusion fairy was haughty and careful of her appearance. How could they have known that the fairy's heart already had feelings? Heaven has finally heard Shiyu's prayers and today allowed Shiyu to be able to once again meet Milord. 2. Shiyu's tender feelings were sincere, not concealing her joy. She did not have a bit of her arrogant indifference from just a moment ago. Shiyu is willing to follow Milord to the ends of the world. What kind of irregular development is this? The Su Xing that had only ever wooed the girl was rendered stunned by her outrageous declaration. He turned stern, pushing Shiyu away from his chest. Little sister, the man you fancy is certainly debauched. He has surprisingly dared to take advantage of the water illusion fairy. Zhang Feiyu was discontent. Zhang Yuqi and Niangzi could not understand. The two were definitely competing. How could they have been fighting and then suddenly turn into a soft and warm scene from Romance of the West Chamber? However, at this time, Su Xing's expression clearly was somewhat unable to bear this. Feiyu, you cannot be rude to the benefactor who saved my life. Shiyu looked straight at Su Xing, the benefactor who saved your life. The three girls were all stunned. Su Xing, when did you have a fling with the water illusion fairy? Zhang Yuqi was stunned. Shiyu, could it be he is the man who saved you originally? Zhang Feiyu was dumbstruck, her mouth open in an O shape. Shiyu nodded. Shiyu, you must look clearly, how can he possibly be? Anyway, Zhang Feiyu looked, Su Xing was not like that sort of good person. How can Shiyu forget? Shiyu has waited for Milord already for a very long time. Water illusion fairy was passionate, stepping forward. A figure blocked her way. Niangzi could not stand any more, bluntly saying, do not confuse Niangzi's dear husband. Water illusion fairy Shiyu threw an inquisitive glance at Su Xing. That day, I saved you only because you were still alive. I have never thought of making you call me Milord, Su Xing seriously replied. Although the water illusion fairy was like a beautiful woman from a dream, Su Xing actually was very disinterested in the, you saved my life, so I should give my heart to you, plot. This is my wife. Su Xing pulled Niangzi close to him. Bright star 10 feet of blue was taken aback. She did not resist, allowing herself to become a wife obediently laying on his chest. My Shiyu, looking upon you is your fortune. You still dare use all sorts of excuses. You do not know what is good for you, I ought to fuck you up. Zhang Feiyu saw Shiyu's heart shatter. Immediately, she seethed in anger, raising her flaming fish king saber and about to slash. Elder sister. Zhang Yuqi hastily held back the impulsive boatman. Su Xing did not mind her, only concentrating on water illusion fairy Shiyu. Has my wife, 3, treated Milord rudely? Shiyu was heartbroken. You have to know that men are actually very lowly beneath the skin. The more unattainable something is, the more they want it, the more granted something is, the less they want it, so, you better still be a bit more reserved. Su Xing helplessly said. The Niangzi against his chest froze. Not good. It seemed he had carelessly mentioned Niangzi's sore spot. Wife, this is only to show Shiyu. Don't take it to heart, dear husband likes you very much. Su Xing used sound transmission. Even if you're loathsome, Niangzi will not hate dear husband. Niangzi silently said. Su Xing's eyes rolled. Suddenly, he hooked Niangzi's chin. Just as the girl was somewhat embarrassed, Su Xing lowered his head and kissed her red lips, washing clean away that grief in her eyes. The irascible Zhang Feiyu was flabbergasted. Because she had seen a blowjob, Zhang Yuqi actually was not very reactive. The kiss ended, and the girl seemed to have blossoms on her cheeks, tender and lovely. This made Su Xing's heart frisky like a monkey, his mind cantering like a horse. Su Xing then earnestly said to Shiyu, "What's happened is in the past. If you treat your rescue as affection, then doesn't me saving you appear to be selfish? Don't treat it as such anymore." This time, Zhang Feiyu was not irritated. She merely remained perplexed after much thought, to be able to decline the water illusion fairy's beauty. When did this man begin using his upper body to think? Little sister, this is actually a star master. Elder sister, absolutely true. Now you believe in little sister's eyesight. Zhang Yuqi proudly said. Fresh. Zhang Feiyu licked her lips. After Shiyu listened to Su Xing's words, she pondered. She looked at Su Xing's earnest expression, nevertheless her heart was even more frisky, her feelings even more chaotic and crazed. Shiyu nodded. Then the matter of our cooperation? Su Xing asked. So long as Milord does not avoid my wife. First, change that address. When he bade farewell to the water illusion fairy, Shiyu had still wanted to follow Su Xing together. However, Su Xing again and again turned her down in order to dismiss the idea. He merely completed negotiations on the time of their cooperation, even leaving several thousand li sound transmission talismans. Only then did she reluctantly part. Truly, a girl changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. Su Xing currently still had an incredulous feeling. Young Su is honestly a man with stories to tell. Zhang Yuqi cast sidelong glances at Su Xing. The famed and renowned water illusion fairy surprisingly has long held deep feelings for you. If anyone else knew, they would absolutely want your life. I myself forgot about it. Su Xing shook his head. Flower Dragon Cave was already a very long gone affair. If it was not for this reminder, he honestly would have forgotten his own act of virtue. Even so, it's good. This way, the water illusion fairy counts as young Su's people. Obtaining the good fortune pill is even more certain. Zhang Yuqi smiled, very satisfied with this sort of outcome. There's still some time for the following. What plans do you have? Su Xing asked her. Yuqi naturally is preparing for Black Turtle Temple. At that time, we will meet again. Zhang Yuqi waved her hand and winked. Next time we meet, Yuqi wonders if maybe she will have the honor to see Niangzi give a blowjob. Do you want me to instruct you? Su Xing grinned evilly. Zhang Yuqi giggled, then seemed to turn into a fish, escaping into the sea. The white stripe in the waves very quickly disappeared from their sight. Wife, let's go back, too. We should prepare for Black Turtle Temple. Su Xing said. As you wish. Next day. Just as Niangzi was cleaning her sabers, the tranquility of the immortal's abode suddenly had a ripple. Niangzi immediately raised her double sabers as a precaution, and a simple and elegant little girl entered the void immortal's abode. Spotting Niangzi, she blinked. The bright star stared with wide eyes. Who are you? State your name. Gongsun Huang did not answer, strolling leisurely into the main hall. Discourteous. When Niangzi saw Gongsun Huang turn a deaf ear, she immediately charged. Sparks flew in all directions. Magic energy blocked Niangzi's double sabers. Bright Star, seeing the golden wind morning dew double sabers, Gongsun Huang was perplexed. Little Huang, you're back. Su Xing at this time walked out from his bedroom. Hearing Su Xing's voice, Niangzi immediately retracted her belligerence. Your Highness. Gongsun Huang's figure flashed, and light as a feather, she landed on Su Xing's shoulder. Introductions, this is Little Huang, the leisure star. Your dragon in the clouds? Niangzi was astonished. She did not dare believe that the number one in magic energy, the ranked fourth elder sister, would surprisingly be so young. Bright Star 10 feet of blue, your 10th sister. Su Xing rubbed his nose. Gongsun Huang nodded, casting a courteous glance at Niangzi. Did you not find Tang Tang? Su Xing was somewhat disappointed when he did not see Bai Yutang's figure. Little Huang found her, but she was not willing to come back. Gongsun Huang's voice was gentle as a breeze. Her mama wants your highness to go pick her up personally. She said she wants to see your highness' sincerity. Mama? She also has a mama. Su Xing fainted. Gongsun Huang gently nodded, her expression saying, Little Huang wanted to forcefully bring her back. I actually did not think this through too thoroughly. Su Xing made Little Huang go pick up Bai Yutang only because he was worried about her safety. Add on that Bai Yutang was a star general, there should not have been a problem. That Bai Yutang had a mama made him very surprised. Could it be that she was a maternal aunt or the like? Su Xing thought about it. The request the opposite party made was not unreasonable, and now that time was plentiful, it was fine to personally go pick her up. Wife, you're just a bit off from your star weapons 4-star. There's an astral bag here with some things inside. Go to the Black Turtle territory and find some marketplaces, see if you can exchange for some things. Su Xing tossed an astral bag to Niangzi. Without even thinking, Niangzi tossed it right back. Niangzi is dear husband's star general, how can Niangzi leave your side? Am I not without danger? And I even have little Huang accompanying me. I'm only going to pick up Bai Yutang. Su Xing smiled. With Black Turtle Temple at hand, we have to race against time to increase our strength. These words nevertheless had no use against Niangzi. Niangzi's star weapon does not need these few days. Niangzi's decision is already made. Niangzi absolutely will not leave dear husband's side. Niangzi was resolute. Gongsun Huang cocked her head, considerably curious as she sized up Niangzi. So it's like this, that's fine. Su Xing helplessly looked at Gongsun Huang. Little Huang could not help but faintly smile. Gu Tong was considerably gloomy. She pointed at the new heavenly phoenix perched on the roof and asked, Can one of you help me drive this bird away? Li Bailian and the others shook their heads, using hopeful gazes. Mistress, this is but the new heavenly phoenix, the number 2 star beast on the star beast list, we cannot defeat it. Li Bailian's martial force was weak, so it was excusable that she could say such disheartening words. Female tiger Gu Tong asked Xinyue and Zhou Ku, what about you? They shook their heads. Shuangfei, could it be that you are also powerless? Gu Tong asked the young girl wearing black skin-tight clothing. Several dozen darts appeared in the girl's hands. She giggled, if mistress is willing, this great sage can use fingers linked to heart, however, this great sage cannot guarantee against this new heavenly phoenix. You actually can run, then the spring breeze Drunken rain pavilion would be destroyed. Gu Tong saw that she could not rely on the sky-soaring great sage. Looking at that imposing and mighty phoenix, she gnashed her teeth. The imposing aura this new heavenly phoenix emitted was honestly too powerful, making the other cultivators not dare to enter. It had been an entire day, and there was no business. Gu Tong might as well close for the day. This old lady actually wants to see just what sort of person that man is. Gu Tong said to Bai Yutang, Tang Tang, remember this. If that man uses any forceful means on you, you absolutely cannot surrender, know that? We star maidens would prefer a starfall to that, and without any reluctance. Bai Yutang nodded, seemingly understanding yet seemingly not. For an elder sister like Gongsun Huang to care for Tang Tang, that is pretty good. Shi Meng leaned against the guardian stone lion, speaking absent-mindedly. However, mistress, if that man truly is coming to pick up Tang Tang, what should we do? Li Bailian giggled. She then grabbed a white wine bottle, the sound of drinking echoed, and a dense white mist hovered. Gu Tong muttered, answering, we sisters shall give him a test. But what if he does not accept? Xinyue closed one eye, butting in with a laughable interjection. These words stumped Gu Tong. If the opposing party actually did not accept, they could not defeat him either. We would rather burn both jade and common stone. We will not let him exploit Tang Tang. Sister, how do you feel? Whatever. Fine either way. Interesting. Not one of them shrunk back, even if they were fully aware of the consequences of them destroying everything was that they would entirely break down. Mama. Tang Tang widened her full eyes, somewhat unable to bear this. Mama will never let a star master exploit you. Gu Tong made her decision. The 6-star maidens began to each discuss Gongsun Huang, the topics of some trials for her master. At nightfall, the new heavenly phoenix suddenly straightened its graceful body, spread its beautiful wings and let out a phoenix cry. He has come. Shi Meng put away her indolent attitude. In the sky, a young man came riding the wind. On his shoulder sat an exceedingly refined little girl. When the new heavenly phoenix saw its mistress, it flapped its wings and flew over. The expressions of Gu Tong and the others were grave. Each of them had their star weapons in hand, their palms unable to help sweating. Su Xing gently landed in front of the restaurant. He was a bit astonished to see the beauties in front of him. He had thought of taking in Tang Tang's elder sisters and Mama, but he did not think there would be so many. Including Tang Tang, this spring breeze drunken rain pavilion had at least 7-star maidens. Papa. Tang Tang's voice was like cotton candy, spreading her arms towards Su Xing, Tang Tang. Gu Tong hastily stopped her baby bird from casting itself into the forest. Su Xing's brows could not help but wrinkle. He cupped his fist. Your servant is Su Xing and has come to pick up Tang Tang. Your servant has offended everyone. Humph. Gu Tong stiffened her face, speaking with displeasure, so it is you who used flowery words to deceive Tang Tang? Your servant is genuine and sincere, that is all. Su Xing said, taking a step forward. The other star maidens immediately stretched their bodies taut, like tigers on the hunt, glaring at prey. Su Xing smiled. There's no need to be so battle-ready. If I honestly had the heart to hurt Tang Tang, against 6-star maidens, what star master would pay no heed? With Gongsun Huang present, Gu Tong and the others naturally had no way to retort, but the female tiger was not willing to give up. Since you said you want to protect Tang Tang, then this old Tonger asks you, can you actually contract Tang Tang? Gu Tong solemnly said. But of course. Su Xing nodded. I'll sign a contract with Tang Tang right now. Mistress, this is a good idea. Li Bailian seductively turned her head around. Gu Tong glared at her. Su Xing's very self-confident reply made the female tiger somewhat skeptical. However, we cannot believe a star master's words at all. If you truly wish to sign a contract with Tang Tang, do you dare to accept the trial we will give you? Gu Tong and the others acted as Tang Tang's elder sisters and Mama. To test him, Su Xing did not feel this was odd, but recently, time was somewhat short. Su Xing did not wish to give rise to too many troublesome twists and turns. Let's hear it first, if it's not too excessive. Gu Tong looked around at the other sisters. We will each give you one test. If you can pass, then you can contract her. You ought to know that if I can't pass that I won't actually give up either. Su Xing smiled and said. Su Xing, what you said is honestly very direct. However, Bailian likes this sort of man. Li Bailian licked her lips, very alluring. Could it be that you do not even have the courage to dare try? Gu Tong glared at him. This old lady is willing to hand her daughter over to you. Could it be you cannot pay the bridal price 7 times? Su Xing laughed. You've made this seem like you're marrying off your daughter, sure. Although he felt this was rather strange, he still nodded his head and agreed. Was there anything not permissible with allowing these elder sisters to test him? This old lady has fed you all for such a long time, yet you still do not go obstruct him, make this star master lower his head. Gu Tong glared at them. First is me, Shi Meng said in a low voice, a peculiar luster flashing past her eyes. Do you mind if I take a look at your identity? Su Xing said. While she was still bewildered, a golden book flew out. Birth treasure outline. The girls were shocked. Star position, ugly star. 2, star name, Shi Yong. 3. Nickname, Stone General. True name, Shi Meng. 5. Rank, 99th star. Weapon, Cloud-piercing rock-splitting boxing gloves. 6. 3 star, Star Beast, Stone Swan. Ni. 7. Realm, 1000 militaries. 8 stage. Innate skill, Petrification Skin. 8. 5 elements, Earth. Yellow. Rank. Special move, Landslide. 9. Dark. Rank. Special move, Rock Breaking. Sky Shocking. 10. Current status, no contractor, can be conquered. Detailed materials. So you're the Stone General. Hey, mistress, he surprisingly has the birth treasure outline. The other star maidens thought they had gone blind. They blinked with all of their strength, making certain that Golden Book was in fact the most precious valuable asset of the second phase birth treasure outline, the treasure capable of seeing all of the materials of the star maidens. How could they have expected this sort of treasure would unexpectedly appear before them? However, when they remembered Dragon in the Clouds' Gongsun Huang, they then somewhat understood. Humph. Shi Meng's eyelids jumped. How do you want to test me? Su Xing asked. I heard little Ku said in Evil Smiting Hall that Zhou Ku could not deal with you. Shi Meng gazed at the single-horned dragon. That was luck. Su Xing modestly said. Shi Meng felt the same. For a star master to think of besting a star general in close combat basically was an idiot daydreaming. Maybe if they had some powerful magic weapon on them, or perhaps of some other talents, but hearing Zhou Ku say this, the man before her completely used martial arts like those of a star general. Across all of the star duels, only majestic star panther head Lin Chang's innate skill could allow a star master to achieve this, but Shi Meng certainly did not believe that Su Xing would contract two top-notch star generals the likes of the majestic star and the leisure star. How about this? So long as you can receive my rock-breaking sky-shocking, then your servant shall acknowledge you. How do I receive it? Could it be your servant just lets you punch once? Su Xing smiled. Exactly. Before she even finished, without any warning, Shi Meng violently brandished her fist. The punch was powerful, with an explosive sound. In the instant her punch lashed out, the ground beneath her immediately received pressure and unexpectedly pressed down into a giant hole. Rock-breaking sky-shocking. It was like a cannonball. Su Xing's eyes narrowed. He long already had taken precautions, and taking a step backwards, his steps were like smoke and mist, mysterious beyond compare. This punch of the rock-breaking sky-shocking directly boomed with a destructive power that reached several dozen zhang, but it nevertheless could only bring about minor injuries to Su Xing. This somewhat ungenerous. Su Xing shrugged his shoulders. Shi Meng was stunned. She never expected that Su Xing's vigilance would be so high. Her sudden use of a dark rank unexpectedly had been evaded. Now that you have made your move, do you still wish to test me? Su Xing calmly asked, patting Gongsun Huang's leg. The dragon in the clouds understood tacitly, floating into the air and away. Humph, your servant can use her dark rank twice. There is another one. Her fair skin turned into stone, and Shi Meng was already full of fighting intent. The air suddenly gave rise to a giant explosion. Instantly, Su Xing's figure quickly disappeared from sight. The shrill scream of ripping air poured out, and a hurricane from who knew when suddenly appeared behind ugly star stone general Shi Meng. In this ear-splitting shriek, it drew a perfect line. What swift speed! Shi Meng's expression focused. She could not have thought that the speed of the star master in front of her was quick to this degree. His figure was a blur. In that instant, Shi Meng could only lean half to the side in time. Her stone-like fingers suddenly slashed out 5 trails of blade-like killing intent. Her wrist quickly flipped over repeatedly, and the air suddenly let out a series of ringing noises. It was as if there really were rocks colliding with each other. Poignant sparks flickered one after another, surprisingly combining into one. Su Xing took a step back, surprised to see Shi Meng could unexpectedly receive this attack. It had to be noted that his strike was using full power, and he thought this attack could force Shi Meng into using rock-breaking sky-shocking. The girl's petrified skin was more powerful than magic weapon armor. Su Xing felt his fist was a bit hurt. Do not underestimate me. Shi Meng's pupils turned white, suddenly clutching her fist and charging. Su Xing smiled. He thoughtfully waved a hand, and the purple mansion immortal thunder in his fingers seemed to shake off the restrictions of any rules. Flying in like a wisp of smoke, it was fast to the point it made people incapable of clearly seeing his speed's constant fluctuations. Everything moved within 1 square cun. Suddenly, the purple mansion immortal thunder already covered all of the places Shi Meng could go. A silhouette rushed out. Shi Meng was completely unharmed. This innate skill was powerful. Su Xing was slightly astonished. If he was to talk about boxing, he actually was not the slightest bit inferior. With the majestic star's battle doctrine, the bright star's light smoke dance steps and the skillful star's boxing arts combined together, the current Su Xing practically could make earthly stars feel envy. However, Su Xing had no way to contend against the star weapons that star generals were intensely proud of. In a direct confrontation, this was absolutely not a good result. Su Xing used the protective armor ability of the Earth Book on his body, and then he stepped in, his figure like a whirlwind as he tangled together with Shi Meng. The female tiger Gu Tong and the rest of the girls to the side were practically dumbfounded. This star master unexpectedly is capable of contending against Shi Meng. Stone General Shi Meng's martial force was not necessarily very high, but relying on her defensive innate skill petrification skin and her cloud-piercing rock-splitting boxing technique, she still could hold an extreme advantage in facing a star master. In the past, the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion was met with the provocations of many star cultivators, and Shi Meng was but an enormous help against them. Although they heard Single-Horned Dragon Zhou Ke say that Su Xing was formidable, they did not actually take this to heart at all. Now that they saw Su Xing was unexpectedly capable of locking Shi Meng in battle, they were shaken. The birth treasure outline, could he be that purple thunder monster? Xinyue thoughtfully said. Inside the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion, they naturally heard plenty of information. Even with Gu Tong and the others not meticulously listening in, they still knew a lot. Among those people discussed the most were the Black Turtle Territory's Great Saint Starkiller and the Azure Dragon Territory's Purple Thunder Monster. The former counted as the Devil Star Palace's second-to-none Star Master. The rumor was that he cultivated a transforming star of annihilation devil cultivation method. He possessed a top-notch martial force star general and was the pride of the Black Turtle Territory. Meanwhile, the latter was even more bizarre. He unexpectedly contracted the majestic star Lin Chong, who had never signed a contract in 1,000 years, and he had once made the Azure Dragon Territory's Alliance of 10 engage him in a chase to kill. In the end, he even brought about the name of Purple Thunder Saint. This was odd enough to come from a book. Lin Chong never signed a contract for 1,000 years, mostly because of her battle doctrine innate skill. To be clear, this innate skill's growth was extremely frightening, capable of contending against star generals in martial arts. Lin Chong did not seek out a master so as to avoid making this sort of innate skill turn into a star master disaster that harmed the sisters. However, no one could speak of a clear reason why she would now contract the Purple Thunder Monster. But if Su Xing truly had the battle doctrine innate skill, then everything displayed before them was reasonable. That should not be. Star Masters can only contract 2 stars. He already has Leisure Star Dragon in the clouds. Since he is so confident in contracting Tang Tang, then he should not have a contract with her. If he is truly the Purple Thunder Monster, then Lin Chong should be right beside him. Gu Tong analyzed. Yes. Xingyue nodded. However, this man is so strong. Li Bailian twisted her hips. Bailian, now is not the time to be in heat. Gu Tong bluntly said. It looks like Su Xing has paid the first bridal price. Shi Meng is about to be beaten. Li Bailian was charming. Xinyue, in a moment, you will go test him. Gu Tong seriously said. You definitely have to grasp clearly just what this man's origins are. This old lady certainly does not wish to turn Tang Tang over to a weird uncle of unclear background. Xinyue nodded, an expression of, leave it to me. Mama. Tang Tang bit her fingertip, unable to bear this. There is no need to worry, Mama will help you judge him. Gu Tong consoled her. In the restaurant's plaza, the figures of Su Xing and Shi Meng intersected. Both sides did not give the other any chance to stop for breath. The powerful battle aura was surging like the ocean. The air of the entire plaza sunk into a terrible, stifled state. Striking with swiftness, under this kind of unusual atmosphere, the battle between the two surprisingly evolved into a battle of speed. Shi Meng's petrification skin possessed powerful defense, but whenever Su Xing attacked, her innate skill was unable to demonstrate too great a use. An indistinct figure moved at high speed, the wind pressure rolling with a roar. Streams of air ripped apart the ground, and the ground showed the intensity of a kind of battle. How this instant, the Shi Meng at the center tasted an unbelievable shock at the tip of her tongue. Although she had already completed her preparations, knowing that this star master was very strong, she did not expect he would show this degree. For the first time, Shi Meng's confidence appeared to waver. Very quickly, Shi Meng already could not keep up with Su Xing's tempo. Her petrification skin that possessed powerful defensive strength also had a fatal flaw, it would encumber her speed. As a battle dragged on, this type of consequence was increasingly obvious. A series of gaps that appeared informed Shi Meng that she necessarily was in a final fight. Hey! Shi Meng shouted, making herself recover an imposing aura. Regardless of what she did, the first thing was that she had to maintain her confidence. If her confidence disappeared, then she definitely would lose. She suddenly leapt, her body drawing an arc that pounced down on Su Xing. Su Xing's light smoke dance steps were graceful to the finest stage, his every movement displaying a sort of comfortable ease. Purple thunder manifested as a net. A rumbling crushing sound rolled the purple thunder net into pieces. Shi Meng was suddenly in front of him, her second punch attacking, rock-breaking, sky-shocking. The air seemed to be linked with rumbling thunder, ripping apart people's eardrums. If he could dodge, Su Xing naturally would not foolishly receive this. He long already anticipated her punch, and Su Xing slid backwards, snapping out a purple mansion immortal thunder. The rock-breaking, sky-shocking directly broke apart the purple thunder. At this moment, Shi Meng suddenly changed. The tip of her foot kicked at Su Xing's chin. Su Xing was sharp-sighted and deft. During his slide, he quickly ducked in, raising his chin to scrape by Shi Meng's kick, and his right hand suddenly grabbed Shi Meng's ankle. Shi Meng was astonished. Su Xing did not give her any chance to react. With a great lunge, he fiercely swung down by means of his powerful strength. Shi Meng's stone body seemed to become a shot-put ball that acted as Su Xing's throwing items. Instantly, she shot over with a whistle. The extremely high speed brought an extremely large kinetic energy that was thrown out. When she was about to smash into the building, suddenly, a silhouette quickly scuttled over, and with a light grab, as if hugging the moon, she pushed Shi Meng's extreme weight back. Shi Meng stood up, cutting a sorry figure. She looked at Su Xing, her teeth tightly grit. With the second use of her rock-breaking, sky-shocking, according to their arrangements, Shi Meng could only concede defeat. Phew! Fortunately elder sister learned a rescue move. Xinyue wiped away her sweat, heaving a sigh. Su Xing looked at her hand that appeared considerably out of the ordinary. It appeared that she was also a formidable martial general. Can you tell your servant, from where did your distinguished self learn martial arts? Xinyue walked over. Su Xing looked at her open tube top, which was very bold. This is all thanks to my wife teaching me right. Su Xing did not hide anything. Wife? Xinyue thoughtfully stroked her chin. Your servant is somewhat curious about your wife, to unexpectedly be able to instruct someone on contending against us star generals. Could she be the previous Wusong? Xinyue smiled. Su Xing shrugged his shoulders, declining to comment. What's the next trial? Su Xing asked. Hero, do you not want to rest? How about if Bailian pours you a cup of love wine? Li Bailian cast a flirty glance. Su Xing warmly smiled at her. No need, I don't want to waste too much time. Good, allow your servant for the second trial. Xinyue stroked the air, and a long saber appeared in her hand. Su Xing opened the birth treasure outline. Star position, number star, 2, star name, Sun Xin, 3, nickname, Little Yuchi true name, Sun Xinyue, 5, rank, 100 star weapon, grazing deer full moon saber, 6, 3 star, star beast, grazing deer, 7, realm, 10,000 techniques 4th stage innate skill, poison and disease immunity, 8, 5 elements, wood yellow rank special move, glancing back 1/9, dark rank special move, moon gazing 1 psi, 10, current status, no contractor, can be conquered, detailed materials. Go easy. Xinyue smiled. This kind of bridal gift is too conventional, can I exchange it? Su Xing honestly did not want to fight her. This will not do at all. Sun Xinyue's shoulders drew back. Her top slid down, revealing tube top bound only with bandages, her jutting twin peaks attracting the eyes. How do we settle this? Su Xing asked. Receive my 10 slashes. 10 slashes? Su Xing nodded. Are you ready? Sun Xinyue was considerably ladylike in demeanor. Her index finger seized the saber's hilt as she asked with a slight smile. Come on, I'll just treat you as a sparring partner. Su Xing scratched his head. To be able to make a star general act as a sparring partner, you certainly are a fortunate man. Sun Xinyue smiled and said. If she knew that Su Xing had Lin Chong, Wu Song, Yan Qing and other top-notch star generals for training, perhaps she would not be able to make such a smile. Whoosh! A scarlet light ray flew out of her blade. It drew a beautiful arc in the air as she directly slashed towards Su Xing. Su Xing's fist clenched. With heaven tearing in hand, one slash easily slashed apart the saber light following these rays, shattering the saber light. Number star Little Yuchi Sun Xinyue's words came at the same time. The second slash. The saber's tip emerged, an imposing aura apparent, forcing Su Xing into being only able to retreat. The flowing red saber light touched Su Xing's arm, and immediately, a deep wound appeared. Bang! Su Xing retreated and defended, critically evading the sharp control of Sun Xinyue's blade. If this retreat was not timely, perhaps this instant, he would have already been seriously wounded. Such powerful saber technique. Su Xing resisted the urge to call out the flying swords. He had the thought to know Sun Xinyue's power, fearlessly forging onwards on his own. The third slash. Sun Xinyue's indifferent voice floated over, with a slightly pressured tone. In time that was no longer than the blink of an eye, Sun Xinyue's third slash came right along the return swing of the second slash. The attack style of maximum speed made Su Xing somewhat surprised. Saberlight, cold iron, and a saber chi in a completely indescribable state already approached Su Xing's front. He was completely without any way to make evasive maneuvers, and the saber ruthlessly slammed into him. Bang! A crisp metallic resonance made Sun Xinyue's attack fall on nothing. A muffled harumph. The plaza immediately was crushed apart. A figure somersaulted out like a spinning top, unclear how many times it spun along the way. Wherever it passed, the wind and waves vigorously flew, rock fragments shooting everywhere. Earth spikes. Su Xing formed a hand seal. Countless enormous stone cones pierced out of the path he had retreated along like sharp blades, suddenly forming a long jungle of spikes. Sun Xinyue originally wanted to obtain instant success. She did not expect these earth spikes, drawing out her blade to shatter them. Fourth slash. The fourth slash was completely fruitless. Su Xing was like flowing water, leisurely falling back, directly making this fourth slash strike nothing. He drew a beautiful trajectory, descending back onto the plaza. Heaven tearing simultaneously counterattacked. The sword light transformed into a biting dragon. Su Xing still was steadfast in body. His face did not show the slightest bit of nervousness because of the instantaneous fierce battle, but the sleeves of his upper garment were already completely shredded, revealing the jade-like sparkling arms and a few bloody sword wounds that lay underneath, the wounds still leaking blood. Boom! Sun Xinyu caught it. She clearly knew the might of Su Xing's heaven-tearing swords, for she immediately prepared a defense to receive it. But immediately afterwards. Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. A purple thunder drew down like rain, enveloping Sun Xinyu within. Su Xing pointed his hand, and the 12 flying swords did not hold back in their attack. 12 rays of sword light suddenly fired, mixing with the blood-red saber qi. Bang! A figure flew out backwards. Astonishingly, it was little Yuchi Sun Xinyu. The girl's tube top already was scratched to tatters by the sword qi, revealing the erotic scene of those deep red dots that lay within, but Sun Xinyu completely did not care as she raised her arms. Now that she carefully scrutinized her front, her face suddenly showed a mocking smile. This smile gradually widened, finally turning into upwards-facing howling laughter. Ha, ha, ha 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 ha, all of the girl were suddenly flabbergasted by what just happened. Gu Tong did not foresee that Su Xing could take the advantage in close combat contending against Xinyu, even injuring her. Any way it was put, Sun Xinyu was the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion's most brilliant. Completely ignoring Sun Xinyue's swift and severe saber qi, in such a short instant, he made a complete attack plan. From being spun around to the finishing blow, no more than an instant had passed. Su Xing has surprisingly made Sun Xinyu suffer hardship. These tricks stunned them. Oh, elder sister Xinyue's chest is about to be exposed. Shi Meng gasped. Gu Tong wanted to remind her, but Sun Xinyue's 5th slash, immediately executed after her mad laugh. An even more powerful baleful aura leaked out from the grazing deer full moon saber. The atmosphere seemed to fall to the freezing point, and those red rays were even more shocking. 6th saber. Sun Xinyu coldly shouted, suddenly disappearing. A scarlet light once again hooked around. Incredible. Su Xing blocked. This time when he raised his hand, the heaven-tearing flying swords appeared and became a shield. There was metallic clanging, the two successively clashing. The intense killing intent was seemingly substantive. That pair of cold eyes seemed to pierce into Su Xing's chest. The instant they passed one another, Sun Xinyu suddenly shouted. 7th slash, glancing back 1 slash. Su Xing's retinas were left with the image of a red saber. Soundlessly, a powerful to the extreme force already was before him. Cold light glinted in her eyes. The flying swords abruptly raised a defense in front. Su Xing surprisingly could not even evade. The star energy surrounding his body madly circulated, clearly showing that he wanted to directly take this on. Bang! The moment that power connected, instantly, two immense forces suddenly made a brief confrontation upon Su Xing's arms. The saber light erupted, and an explosive sound crashed. The cold blade was like a viper roaming over his body. The strength his body had accumulated bit by bit was instantly blown away without a trace. His footsteps staggered, and his entire person already was pushed back several paces. In front of him, the hard ground immediately was left with deep foot trails. His figure wobbled. Su Xing established his footing with great difficulty, his complexion already extremely astonished, his eyes endlessly flickering. With a muffled groan, a clear line of blood already quickly flowed out the corner of his mouth. Impossible. Xinyue's point-blank range glancing back 1 slash was unable to stop him. Gu Tong choked. On Su Xing's back, cold sweat and blood intersected. Without allowing him rest, Sun Xinyue's 8th slash already continued the attack. A dazzling red like a Japanese rose blossomed. Saber light then seemed to become a phantom. The instant her blade slashed, countless red hurricanes rose steeply, engulfing him at the center. If it was anyone else, they inevitably would have been torn apart to the extreme by this sudden and violent storm. Even if they did not die, they would be necessarily crippled. Even Su Xing was a bit distressed within this red storm. Bang! There was an intense explosion. Earth Book ability. At the instant Su Xing attacked, the saber wind that devastated the ground instantly disappeared without a trace. Not only this, all of the shards and dust that had been stirred up were simultaneously pressed onto the ground by a formless power. The entire space suddenly recovered clarity. Sun Xinyue was stunned. Looking at the fist at her stomach, she suddenly retreated several steps. While her body was still in the air, Sun Xinyue stalled. With a great shout, she spat out a ragged breath. Her fingers clenched her saber, her ninth slash already hacking downwards. Humph! Responding to Sun Xinyue with a cold snort, Su Xing raised one hand. The heaven-tearing flying swords formed a golden dragon that immediately transformed within the earth, turning seemingly into a cage that pounced towards Sun Xinyue. 10th slash, moon gazing, Sun Xinyue rushed out of heaven-tearing's encirclement. The final slash was the strongest and about to emerge. But how could Su Xing give her the chance? Letting a 10,000 techniques realm martial general use her dark rank, Su Xing feared that he would lose half his life. Although he could win against her, he did not think he would be cutting such a sorry figure. Su Xing's thinking was incomparably fast. Although those red blade lights were certainly terrifying, they were not at all invulnerable. After all, Sun Xinyue was only an earthly star martial general, far from being able to contend against Lin Chong. In the end, there was a limit. Enduring the saber chi, after another dozen wounds deep enough to show bone appear on his body, Su Xing took the risk to pierce through Sun Xinyue's killing intent. He neatly leaned forward, and raising his head, the girl's naked breasts jiggled before him. As if Su Xing did not see her erotic sight, he wielded a very vigorous punch towards Sun Xinyue. Don't be too naive. The star energy in Sun Xinyue's left hand was hoisted like killing intent. Blood spattered everywhere. But Sun Xinyue had greatly underestimated Su Xing's fortitude. In the reflections of this earthly star martial general, any way it was put, Su Xing was merely a star master. Using her own star energy, she could make this man shrink back. Then, another use of moon gazing one sai would obtain victory. This was the gap in her reflective pondering. Su Xing suddenly turned around, his body techniques wonderfully passing before Sun Xinyue's eyes. Disappearing from her sight, the girl was greatly astonished, and at this time, Su Xing already grabbed with both his hands at the same time. So soft. Su Xing's hands grabbed onto a clump of soft meat. Lowering his head to look, only then did he notice that he had grabbed onto a very startling place. Ah! Little Yuchi Sun Xinyue let out an ecstatic moan, amorous and mellow. Her pale face suddenly fluttered with red clouds. The 10th slash already was slashing from behind her without any ceremony. Su Xing's hands relaxed, and he immediately retreated, very easily evading this slash. Sun Xinyue still wanted to slash again. The 10th slash has already passed. Su Xing pointed a finger, and the flying swords revolved. Sun Xinyue stopped her steps. Her left hand covered her explosive chest, her right hand gripped her saber. In her eyes was slight bashfulness. Harumphing, she stowed her blade. Xinyue. The others rushed up, their expressions oddly staring at Sun Xinyue. Sun Xinyue nodded. She did not mention a word about that embarrassing event, merely saying, he has enough shameless capabilities to protect Tang Tang. Hearing this evaluation, Su Xing very awkwardly smiled. All's fair in war, Papa, drink worry-free without a care. A tender voice came over. Tang Tang already ran to Su Xing's front, her little hand carefully offering Dreamless. The Su Xing whose body was incredibly aching all over bubbled forth with warmth in his heart. Taking a drink, he pet her head, Tang Tang, Papa is about to come carry you away. Mama only wants the best for Tang Tang. Bai Yutang lowered her voice. Su Xing smiled as he pet her. Bai Yutang was very enraptured, like a kitten, very much in pleasure. Who's next to receive your servant's bridal payment? Su Xing asked. Gu Tong and the others looked at each other in dismay. Now that Shi Meng and Sun Xinyue had consecutively challenged him and returned without any achievement, this made Gu Tong shocked yet also vaguely a bit interested and vexed. Zhou Ku, are you going to fight with him? Gu Tong asked the Marshal General of the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion. No need for me. Zhou Ku shook her head. It appeared she did not have any desire for Su Xing's bridal price. Allow this great sage then. This great sage's flying darts are not to be trifled with. Sky-soaring great sage Li Gun, 11, giggled. Just as she was about to step forward, someone was even faster by a step. Hero, this time, allow Bailian to come attend to you. Li Bailian licked her lips. An ash-colored robe outlined her very enticing curves. She twisted her serpentine waist, and she had an elegant countenance as she walked to Su Xing's front. My daughter, 12, is Bailian. This is the first time Bailian has tested a star master, truly fascinating. The appearance of a man like you is very compatible with Bailian's tastes. You can do, Bailian just does not know how your other aspects are. Saying this, she took out a wine bottle of bubbling white qi. The air emitted a disgusting smell. Bailian shall not make things difficult for little handsome. 13, so long as you drink this white bones wine, that will be all. Bailian giggled. Su Xing wrinkled his brow, flipping out the birth treasure outline. Star position, slave star, 14, star name, Li nickname, life-taking judge, 16, true name, Li Bailian rank, 96 star weapon, cold night desolate kill, 17, 3 star, star beast, Xidagarba butterfly, 18, realm, 10,000 techniques first stage innate skill, poison wine 5 elements, fire yellow rank special move, moodless, 19, dark rank special move, 3 strikes white bones wine, 20, current status, no contractor, can be conquered, detailed materials. To have me drink the life-taking judge's dark rank wine, am I on death row? Su Xing stared at her. Then what will you do? But Bailian can only make some poison wine. Li Bailian said, vexed. Then you shall drink moodless, how about it? Li Bailian then smiled, this wine will confuse your awareness, make you feel ill at ease. If your willpower is even slightly off, you will faint, losing consciousness. If you can maintain it, you will count it as having passed. A trial on willpower? Su Xing thought. This seemed to be his greatest expertise. To be able to blossom the meditative mind lotus flower, reach the peak of the heart like mirror, this little moodless naturally did not count as anything. Fine. Li Bailian's wine bottle shook, and the wine was already odorless. Will you actually drink? Gu Tong was suddenly somewhat nervous. What? If you want, we cannot do this trial. Su Xing leisurely said. Drink then, humph. Su Xing grabbed the wine bottle. Sniffing it, it indeed was odorless. It did not seem poisoned, however, Su Xing's body had Ensuan's detoxification pearl. Even if there was actually something toxic, by relying on the meditative mind lotus flower's karmic strength, he could dissolve it without a problem. Su Xing did not hesitate anymore, downing everything in one gulp. The wine glugged into his throat. In a split second, a clarity flowed through his whole body's meridians, his limbs and bones, and his organs. Boom! His heart resolutely pumped, and the blood vessels in his body opened and shut. An indescribable feeling immediately bubbled forth. This was truly a bit frightening. Su Xing hastily circulated the soul technique to clear this fantastical attack inside his body. His body nevertheless was somewhat unsteady. A warm and soft body hugged him from behind. This moodless is but very powerful. Li Bailian charmingly whispered, her chest rubbing against and tightly pressed into his back, just like a serpent. Gu Tong and the others were speechless. What time was it now, for her to still be flirting? Obediently go to sleep, Li Bailian licked Su Xing's earlobe. Her finger gently slid across, her expression flirtatious, but her words had an enchanting power. Combined with the moodless wine, it could display its use even better. When she saw Su Xing's eyes blur and lose focus, Bailian showed a complacent expression. A good wine. Su Xing suddenly opened his eyes, praising in satisfaction. You are unaffected. Bailian froze. Let alone that her moodless was only yellow rank, if it was ingested, a star cultivator was guaranteed to not wake for half a day. Even if Su Xing's cultivation was supercluster stage, he would need several hours. But from when Su Xing drank until now when he opened his eyes, not even a candlewick of time had passed. Even female tiger Gu Tong doubted whether or not Bailian had thrown. That's really too bad. Your servant Long has already stopped fearing losing his mind. Su Xing smiled. Bailian covered her mouth in extreme shock. The next bridal price shall be this great sage's. Sky-soaring great sage Li Gun impatiently walked out. Su Xing looked at her wearing a skin-tight black jumpsuit. Her figure was graceful, her eyes bright and lively, an unordinary air of experience. What did you think of? Su Xing asked her. Will you not see for yourself? The girl sharply glared at him. He shone the birth treasure outline at her. Star position, walking star. Star name, Li Gun. 2, nickname, Sky-soaring great sage. 3, name, Li Shuangfei. Rank, 65th star. Weapon, southern barbarian sword. 5, 2 star, autumn wind shield. 6, 1 star, dead leaves darts. 7, 3 star, star beast, sky-soaring carp. 8, realm, 10,000 techniques. 5th stage innate skill, keenness. 9, 5 elements, fire. Yellow rank. Special move, autumn wind sweeps dead leaves. 10, dark rank. Special move, fingers linked to heart. 11, current. Status, no contractor, can be conquered. Detailed materials. Sky-soaring great sage. Su Xing lifted his head and caught sight of Li Shuangfei smirking. In merely the blink of an eye, suddenly, walking star sky-soaring great sage's presence completely vanished. Right before she disappeared, she seemed to easily take away time and space. Su Xing smelled an ice-cold metallic scent, carrying a derisive commitment. A buzzing noise hummed. Can you dodge this great sage's flying darts? A black flying dart arrived at the tip of his nose. Su Xing's eyes still were searching for the master that fired this needle. It appeared that he completely did not treat the opponent's attack as the same thing. Until this dead leaves flying dart's tip practically touched his skin, only then did Su Xing slightly lean to the side. Rip. The sound of air tearing apart. Without any warning, another dead leaves flying darts attacked. This time, the difference was that the corner of Su Xing's eye only just glanced it when suddenly, that flying dart oddly accelerated en route, which was practically inconceivable. Su Xing felt a pinprick of pain at the tip of his nose. He felt the slight moisture of blood, he had not evaded. The sky-soaring great sage Li Shuangfei appeared 100 meters away still wearing a smile. So long as you can dodge this great sage's 10 flying darts, this great sage shall acknowledge you. After 10 slashes is 10 flying darts. Truly, you have no creativity. Su Xing shook his head. Is that so? Li Shuangfei's hands each gripped 5 dead leaves flying darts. Slightly smiling, she leapt backwards throwing them out. The 10 dead leaves flying darts suddenly shot out like screaming lightning, drawing an extraordinarily gorgeous trajectory. The speed was quick enough to make a person forget to breathe. The 10 dead leaves flying darts disappeared from Su Xing's eyes, and even their similarly ice-cold presences disappeared. As if they had severed their connection to space, he unexpectedly could not seize any sign of them. Dear husband, careful. Hu Sanyang warned. Su Xing's divine intent was unleashed, and then he felt a stinging pain. Whoosh! 10 flying darts already encircled Su Xing from 10 directions. The flying darts drew a mysterious arc that vaguely trapped him within. Dark rank technique, fingers linked to heart. Undodgeable. Su Xing immediately sensed the strong points of Li Shuangfei's attack. This was apparently endless but was no more than the speed of a breath. The fingers linked to heart already shot over. Bang 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 bang. The heaven-tearing flying sword promptly emerged and revolved in his surroundings, becoming shields. The dead leaves flying darts shot onto the swords and gave rise to an oppressive pounding. Sparks sprayed everywhere in the air. His divine intent-linked flying swords only made Su Xing feel nearly unable to endure. Such incredible flying swords, to unexpectedly be capable of resisting even this great sage's fingers linked to heart. The golden flying swords formed a dragon shape, emitting a swift and severe spirit that made Li Shuangfei endlessly astonished. Her fingers linked to heart basically could not be contested by normal flying swords and sword arrays. Shall we continue? Su Xing raised his eyebrows. This great sage speaks and keeps her promises, Li Shuangfei slightly smiled. Her whole body relaxed as she drew near Su Xing. She appeared to have already conceded, but she had only taken 2 steps when she suddenly became a shadow, sneak attacking Su Xing. A shadow-like short sword was already in her hand, and her voice was chilly, but this great saint also likes to break her word, bang. The flying swords came together. Su Xing struck with his palm, directly sending the Li Shuangfei who had revolted flying. Su Xing smiled at her. Fortunately, I've never believed in a woman's promises, particularly ones like yours. Li Shuangfei's face paled. With sword and shield in hand, she gnashed her teeth, damn it. The Shi Meng spectating the battle blinked her eyes. She asked Gu Tong, what now? Everything a star general can do is already unable to stop him. Gu Tong was torn. From the very beginning, the female tiger did not believe in star masters. Rather than produce these trials to probe Su Xing's strength, it was better to say they wanted to deliberately make things difficult for Su Xing, to make him back out of the situation or perhaps expose his true face. Although Bai Yutang's innate skill wine brewing was very good, how could female tiger have faith in a star master who had contracted Gongsun Huang would waste this valuable quota on the rat star? But things were completely outside of their expectations. The martial arts and moral character Su Xing displayed appeared impeccable. If Gu Tong became hostile, she would contrarily hurt Tang Tang's heart. Actually, your servant feels it is fine to believe in him. So long as he can sign a contract. Sun Xinyu smiled. If he truly wished to exploit Tang Tang, there would be no need to go through so much effort. Pausing, little Yuqi looked to the relaxed and refined leisure star dragon in the clouds at the side. Even if you do not believe in this star master, so long as Gong Sunsheng says it, the ranked 4th elder sister leisure star is worthy of our faith. Reasonable. Shi Meng agreed. Gu Tong struggled. Since mistress is so reluctant to part with Tang Tang, you might as well follow this man. You are Tang Tang's mama, anyways, and he is Tang Tang's papa. You two are a pair. Li Bailian giggled into her sleeve. This idea is not bad. Sun Xinyu nodded in agreement. Gu Tong's face reddened as she glared at them. As if this old lady would follow a star master. Then what about Tang Tang? It seems this old lady can turn Tang Tang over to him. Gu Tong gazed at Gongsun Huang. She could only make this decision. Sky-soaring great sage Li Shuangfei very quickly was defeated. It really was not that her martial arts skills were not up to par, rather, Su Xing's flying swords were troublesome. In a direct confrontation, she could not take the advantage. Such a deadlock was not a solution. Sky-soaring great sage might as well just not waste any more time. The 5th bridal price was Zhou Ku, however, having tangled with Su Xing once before in evil smiting hall, the single-horned dragon inherently did not have any intentions to fight further. Let alone that they used a rotation of battles against Su Xing, this was not a genuine star duel. It was always not too brilliant to go up herself, but she still stepped up without any persuasion. However, Zhou Ku clearly did not have the mind to battle, merely to test the waters. Thus, the final bridal price was Gu Tong. In star female tiger Gu Deseo, your servant asks you to forgive his rudeness. Su Xing looked at the birth treasure outline. The data for In star Gu Tong was completely within his eyes. Her identity was actually within Su Xing's expectations. Just her lady shopkeeper temperament and maternal love was enough for Su Xing to be able to guess her. Star position, Yin star, 12, star name, Gu Deseo, 13, nickname, female tiger true name, Gu Tong rank, 101st star weapon, male and female tiger head hairpin, 14, 3 star, star beast, tiger on the shoulder realm, 1000 military's 5th stage innate skill, voice, 16, 5 elements, fire yellow rank special move, lioness from Hedong roars, 17, dark rank special move, Tithagata's proper sound, 18, the others laughed into their sleeves, very curious as to what kind of testing method their mistress could use. Her martial force definitely could not do, however, to make Su Xing listen to the female tiger's lioness from Hedong roars actually was not bad. Gu Tong could not possibly be so ill-mannered. She turned around and entered the restaurant. Enter. Su Xing followed her in. Above the door, he noticed a black wind-slashing ring saber. Isn't this green-eyed tiger Li Yun's star weapon? Seems like she was unlucky. Entering the restaurant, Su Xing looked around. The decorations were exceptionally imposing. The floor and furnishings were all spotless. It seemed that Gu Deseo's operations were busy. Mistress, just what are you going to compete in? Xinyue, you go and bring those restaurant guarding treasures from the wine cellar. Gu Tong ordered. Tonger. Could it be that you are? The girls were taken aback. Today, this old lady throws caution to the wind. Gu Tong sternly said. Su Xing probably could guess what Gu Tong wanted to play with. Not long after, Sun Xinyue brought over 4 sealed wine jugs. An intoxicating smell wafted over, and the air seemed to ferment, making a person feel as if their bones had gone soft. Just smelling the wine made people drool. Seeing Su Xing's astonished appearance, Gu Tong was considerably proud. This wine's name is Orange Jasmine. 19, Orange Jasmine. Su Xing exclaimed. Liangshan continent had the legendary 5 great excellent wines. These fine wines were not the same as ordinary wines. They were brewed from every sort of material, fermenting for other 100 years. They were fermented to a sort of realm that panaceas could not compare to. Even star cultivators could not resist. Su Xing knew that the pinnacle of the 5 great excellent wines was known as, drunk 1,000 years. 20. A drop could make a bowl of clean water turn into wine, a jug could ferment a river. However, this drunk 1,000 years was exceedingly rare. Supervoid cultivators found it difficult to find and taste, and the Orange Jasmine was one of the 5 great excellent wines. Although it was not like the drunk 1,000 years, Su Xing knew that its alcohol content was extremely high. Normal people could only drink a small mouthful and be drunk for several hours afterwards. Star cultivators with better capacity for alcohol would need to lie down after drinking a bowl. You wouldn't happen to be thinking of making me drink wine, right? Su Xing said. We shall compete with wine. Whoever can fully drink 2 jugs first. However, this old lady shall warn you beforehand, this Orange Jasmine was specially brewed by us sisters. It is absolute in Liangshan. Even Emperor Liang could not possibly taste it. So long as you become drunk, after wine, spit out the truth, you hear this old lady? Gu Tong gazed steadily at Su Xing. Is it this incredible? Su Xing knew what Gu Tong was planning. On one side, she was testing his capacity for alcohol, and on the other, she wanted to make him clearly state his own thinking under a state of extreme intoxication. A gentleman is open and poised, and Su Xing naturally did not have anything to worry about. Do you dare? You are screwed. Mistress is but astonishing in alcohol capacity. It is best to not compete with this. The others kindly persuaded. Perfect, how can I not taste Liangshan's finest excellent wine, this trip would be in vain. Su Xing greatly smiled. With one hand, he grabbed a wine jug, opened the seal, and deeply sniffed. He only felt his body nearly go numb. Straightforward. Gu Tong's eyes carried a smile. She grabbed a jug, chugging a mouthful. Chugging down the orange jasmine, the blood vessels in his whole body seemed about to explode. The strength of the wine shocked Su Xing into a stupor, and he nearly fell over. How is it? Not bad, right? The female tiger put down the wine jug, her cheeks already completely red. Staving off the alcohol, Su Xing's line of sight gradually cleared. After all, the heart-like mirror was at its peak, so how could the orange jasmine be worth a mention? Su Xing did not answer. He gulped down the wine, leaving the aroma on his lips and teeth. His body's cells seemed to be invigorated. This intoxication honestly was hard to describe. Female tiger also drank a big mouthful when she saw this. Hey, this is but the orange jasmine, not water. Sun Xinyue looked at the two, speechless. The entire restaurant very quickly was permeated with the scent of alcohol. Just smelling it would make a person's bones go limp. Tang Tang's face were slightly red, somewhat hazy. The first jug of orange jasmine was practically completely drunk at the same time. Good wine. Su Xing did not hesitate at all to drink the second jug. Gu Tong showed slight surprise. She also grabbed the second jug, stepping onto the table with one leg as she drank a large mouthful. The wine's fire and warmth rolled like alternating ice and fire within Su Xing's body. His internal organs flipped up and down, his awareness hazy. All sounds seemed to disappear, and a supreme stupor made Su Xing only wish to die in the intoxication. He was delighted, extremely delighted. Licking up the last drop, Su Xing wished to continue. Sun Xinyue and the others looked at Su Xing as if they were looking at a monster, 2 jugs of orange jasmine, yet he unexpectedly still was not drunk. This capacity for alcohol was simply terrifying. Got more? Su Xing twitched his lips. His whole body was enveloped in the scent of wine, his capillaries completely opened. How about you drink a bottle of White Bones wine to decompress? Li Bailian enticingly said. Tonger, you lost. Sun Xinyue wanted to tug at Gu Tong. The female tiger was clearly somewhat drunk, her eyes unfocused, her speech slurred. As if this old lady would give her daughter to you. This old lady is Tang Tang's mama, she is unwilling to give her daughter to you. As she said this, Gu Tong's eyes were completely red, and she choked up. She honestly had an attitude of being unwilling to marry off her daughter. Even advising Tang Tang was no use. Tonger is drunk. The group apologetically said. Su Xing, you can really hold your liquor. Never expected that Tonger would not be able to outdrink you. Sun Xinyue said. She was somewhat manly, confident and straightforward, considerably forthright. Is she all right? Su Xing apologetically asked. Seeing the disorderly Gu Tong, Sun Xinyue helplessly smiled. It seems that mistress is done for the day. However, we sisters already are at peace. So long as your distinguished self is truly capable of signing a contract and protecting her, the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion will support your kind efforts. Su Xing looked at the cute Tang Tang. Those full eyes were like pure jades that made people incapable of destruction. Tang Tang shouldn't participate in the star duels. Sun Xinyue smiled, not replying. Su Xing covered his head. The orange jasmine's after-effects were surfacing, and his eyes were seeing stars. Sun Xinyue saw that the outside of the restaurant was already cool as water, with a night wind blowing. She said, the time is already late. Tonight, your distinguished self Su Xing can stay at the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion. Tomorrow, when Tong awakes, we will then turn Tang Tang over to your distinguished self. She will also be at ease. The girl was somewhat embarrassed. All right. Su Xing nodded. There was no need to decline. He indeed needed to properly rest for a night right now. At this time, Gu Tong was in a drunken frenzy. Suddenly, she tore open her lapel, exposing a pink bodice. This bodice was completely incapable of supporting the female tiger's great breasts. The bodice enormously bulged, and an erotic sight was leaked. The wine that Su Xing drank was nearly sprayed out. Su Xing, compete with this old lady in this. If this old lady loses, this old lady shall go with you. Gu Tong's hands grabbed and fondled her chest, very unresigned as she charged Su Xing in argument. She had wanted to run over. But she was promptly held back by sky-soaring great sage and Zhou Ku. Sun Xinyue painfully facepalmed. Bailian, quickly go take Su Xing to his room. Gu Tong, I won't let down Tang Tang. You can be reassured. If you don't believe words, if you're willing tomorrow after you sober up, then you can accompany me together. Su Xing shook his head, leaving behind these words. This old lady does not want to marry off her daughter to you. Gu Tong was in a stupor. Arriving in the room, Li Bailian sweetly smiled. Hero Su Xing, do you require any other services? Do not hesitate to ask, then I will have to trouble you. Su Xing felt that heaven and earth were reversed, that the world was beginning to turn upside down. The orange jasmine's powerful alcohol content could not be suppressed even by using the heart-like mirror. That scent of wine enveloped his whole body. His body was light as a swallow, and only after Li Bailian left did Su Xing collapse onto the bed, asleep. A blue figure emerged. Niangzi looked at Su Xing's unbearable sleeping posture with a harsh frown. Although the scent of the orange jasmine was enough to intoxicate people, as far as the Niangzi who stuck rigidly to custom and remained cleanly was concerned, Su Xing's body permeated with the smell of alcohol made her heart very displeased. Does Gongsun Huang wish to help wash the young lord? Gongsun Huang blinked, not declining. Then, Gongsun Huang had Li Bailian bring hot water. When Li Bailian dallied Gongsun Huang on whether Gongsun Huang wanted her to help wash Su Xing, the leisure star sent her out with a stream of wind. Niangzi held Su Xing, dragging him behind the screen door to the bathtub. Dear husband. Dear husband. Niangzi called out several times. Su Xing slept like a dead pig, his mouth muttering something about good wine and pleasure. If right now that Star Master was here, he basically was just a fish on the chopping board to be taken advantage of. If you cannot drink, then do not drink. Liangshan's supreme excellent wines, could it be you do not feel injured from drinking 2 jugs? Niangzi's appearance was practically that of a little wife grumbling about seeing her dead drunk lord husband stumble back home. Then, her fingers directly stripped Su Xing naked and pulled him into the tub. A pair of perfect, pure white fingers began to wipe Su Xing's whole body clean. Although Niangzi's face blushed to the point of erupting fire, her movements did not stagnate in the slightest, very expertly displaying an aspect of a wife. Gongsun Huang. Niangzi was slightly startled. She saw that Gongsun Huang was undressing. The little loli blinked and took off all of the clothes on her body. Her petite and fine body still was full of a certain immaturity like an unripened apple. What are you doing? Niangzi could not make sense of things for a time. Gongsun Huang floated into the bathtub. Her pair of tiny hands then scrubbed along Su Xing's body, her intent very clear. Married couple's bath. This phrase flashed through Niangzi's mind, and her face was even more red, like a tomato. The Gongsun Huang who had already bathed with Su Xing before in a married couple's bath found this as a matter of course. The leisure star was indifferent as before. Niangzi lowered her face, not uttering a word, forcefully wiping Su Xing's body. The Su Xing currently immersed in a beautiful dream was completely oblivious to this covetous treatment. After helping Su Xing bathe with much difficulty, Niangzi's whole body was soaked. Then, she made the bed and again she carried Su Xing over. In spite of Su Xing's sturdy body, Niangzi had plenty of strength to do so. After she put Su Xing into the bed, Gongsun Huang also finished washing. Seeing that Su Xing was still dead drunk, Niangzi sternly said to Gongsun Huang, Niangzi is not too convinced by female tiger and the rest. Niangzi fears that something surprising will happen to the drunken Su Xing tonight. We must look after dear husband, keep close by. Gongsun Huang nodded, sleeping to one side of Su Xing deep night. Wife, too, Su Xing talked in his sleep. Dear husband, Niangzi is here. Is something the matter? Niangzi opened her eyes and walked before Su Xing. Su Xing opened his eyes in a daze. In his line of sight, there appeared a beautiful young girl. She had a heroic air, eyes like cold stars, and brows like crescent moons. In his mind, the beautiful figure of the young girl seemed to carry an Arctic star serpent spear, standing atop a snowy cliff. Ah! Niangzi gasped, for she was pulled into Su Xing's embrace without any warning. Dear husband, Niangzi had never been embraced so intimately by a man. The sweet scent of masculinity after a bath hit her in the face. Niangzi's mind was uneasy. She wanted to push Su Xing away. Struggling, she suddenly heard Su Xing's sleep talk. Bright star 10 feet of blue. Niangzi's body froze. Her eyes were complex, and her heart immediately softened. She allowed Su Xing to hold her, an indescribable sadness bubbling forth in her heart. Niangzi lightly bit her lip, half resentful. 3. The candle light extinguished, and the moonlight faded. This night was quiet. The next day, when Su Xing got up, he only felt that he had a bewildering dream. In his dream, it seemed that he had his wedding night with Lin Yingmei. Lin Yingmei served him with a bath, extremely tender to the utmost of her abilities. At this time, Su Xing recalled the dream of golden millet of divine mathematician Jiang Shui heavenly mystery. He then recalled all kinds of fantasies of making love to Lin Yingmei. For a time, he nervously held her against his chest, speaking every tender sentiment that he could not say aloud. In the end, the two became one, ascending the peak. Your Highness. A soft call came to his ear. Su Xing opened his eyes. Against his chest, there indeed was a girl, but she was not Yingmei. Rather, she was Gongsun Huang. The little girl was slightly red. Little Huang, I was drunk last night. Su Xing rubbed his forehead. He sniffed himself. Weird, I surprisingly don't reek of alcohol. Gongsun Huang slightly nodded. The orange jasmine is very formidable. The after effects are so strong. If at that time I had encountered an evil star master, then I definitely would be dead. Su Xing had lingering fears. Although an excellent wine was good, only a dabble would suffice. However, that orange jasmine was indeed powerful. His lips still were left with a soft feeling. It is very good that dear husband can think of this. Niangzi walked out from behind the screen. The young girl clearly had been bathing not long before. Her hair was soaked with water droplets, permeating with a fresh smell from head to foot. Seeing that Su Xing still had a bit of reflection, Niangzi's face was even redder. Last night, it was Hu Sanyang who helped wash your highness. Gongsun Huang said. Wife, I've truly troubled you. Su Xing apologetically said. Niangzi stared at Su Xing for a long while. She pursed her lips. It seems that Gu Deseo and the others did not conspire against dear husband at all. Niangzi is also relieved. This instant, Su Xing had a sort of illusion of being cared for by a wife. He stared blankly at Niangzi. Dear husband, is something the matter? Niangzi wrinkled her brow. Worthy of being called the absolute beauty among the 9 generations of Maiden Mountain Star Maidens, she made Su Xing unexpectedly feel somewhat out of control. He said, let's go down first. Do you want to return to the star nest for now? Su Xing suddenly asked. He already had a contracted Gongsun Huang at his side. If he let Gu Tong know that he had also contracted the bright star, he feared that some twists and turns may arise, so last night, he had Niangzi continuously conceal herself. How could he have anticipated that Niangzi would decline? No need, dear husband. Last night, dear husband already conquered those sisters. If Niangzi has not anticipated incorrectly, today, they will allow Bai Yutang to sign a contract with dear husband. There is no need for Niangzi to hide. Su Xing also thought so. The restaurant's main hall. The Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion's 8-star generals were already completely assembled. Gu Tong sat at the front of the hall, an ice pack pressed to her forehead, groaning incessantly. Last night's orange Jasmine did not allow this female tiger to get away so easily. Seeing Su Xing descend the stairs, her gaze seemed to want to kill someone. It was full of resentment. Clearly, Ean's star female tiger also knew that after drinking last night, she was in a state of no control where she had exposed her breasts. She was vexed, but this female tiger was nevertheless brazen, pretending that nothing had happened at all. Sun Xinyue, Li Bailian, and Li Shuangfei had even wanted to greet Su Xing, but when they saw the beautiful woman following behind Su Xing, they were all shaken. They looked at each other in dismay and cast odd looks at Su Xing. This is wife. Su Xing introduced. Oh, this is the wife that taught you martial arts. Shi Meng thoughtfully sized up the bright star, great shock in her eyes. Su Xing did not explain too much, only beckoning to Tang Tang with his hand. Tang Tang glanced at her mama. Gu Tong was without a choice, and then Tang Tang threw herself into Su Xing's chest like a bird. Her sweet voice was more rich and mellow than the orange jasmine he drank last night. All of the girls were perplexed as to when Su Xing's wife had entered the building. At this time, they no longer cared that much. They saw that Su Xing and Bai Yutang's relationship was this good, and they were able to be further at ease. Regardless of what this man's goal was, at least his tenderness towards Tang Tang was not so bad. Gu Tong wanted to say something but then hesitated, a pitiful expression of seeing her daughter get married. Su Xing, just who the hell are you? Gu Tong shook her head, asking. A star master. Su Xing concisely replied, you don't need to ask anymore, I will tell you the truth. I don't have the support of any influential family nor great sect. What? The 6 star generals were simultaneously astonished. They seemed to have heard something inconceivable. Could it be that you are a star master on your own? Li Shuangfei twitched her lips, not too convinced. She could not be blamed for thinking this way. Now that the star duels had long made new developments daily, it already could no longer be classified as an arena for loners. Su Xing's display last night was not like a loner. Without mentioning those outrageous martial arts, just those 12 golden flying swords being able to block her fingers linked to heart made walking star sky soaring great sage smell the aura of something immemorial. Ever since early morning, they guessed at Su Xing's identity. The majority felt Su Xing could possibly be from the Azure Dragon Territory's Clear Void Most High Path. Not exactly, I have the 4 Styles School. Su Xing thought. 4 Styles School. All of the girls were somewhat confused. The Azure Dragon Territory's ancient senior arriving 9 Dragons Great Sect had long already been covered in the dust of history. After its destruction, the Black Turtle Territory naturally also would not be too clear about it. However, Su Xing only needed to mention the 4 Styles School's dragon namesake to make somewhat of an impression. So it was that ancient great sect. Then your flying swords are within reason. We can turn Tang Tang over to you, but here is one last condition. Sun Xinyue crossed her arms. A contract, is it? Su Xing smiled. Sun Xinyue smirked and nodded. 7 bridal prices were fine, unwillingness was fine. Compared to these, what allowed Su Xing to contract with Tang Tang was his way to victory. However, Gu Tong was not convinced Su Xing used talent to deliberately make things difficult. Now that he had said as much, there was no use crying over spilt milk. She could only concede. Sure. Su Xing picked up Tang Tang, tenderly saying, Tang Tang, do you want to sign a contract with Papa? Bai Yutang bit her adorable lip. She turned her head to look back at her mama and elder sisters, her limpid gaze apparently awaiting their opinions. Gu Tong nodded, without a choice. Does Papa want Tang Tang? Bai Yutang timidly answered. Of course. Su Xing smiled. Tang Tang is willing to sign a contract. Bai Yutang said in a small voice. She did not need any teaching. Star generals innately possessed the capability to sign contracts. Rat Star Daylight Rat Bai Yutang closed her eyes. She gently wrapped her fingers around Su Xing's extended middle finger. A contract between Star General and Star Master only required the Star General's own willingness to work. Even if the Star Master was conflicted, they were incapable of rejection. For this reason, Niangzi was able to force a contract onto Su Xing. However, if both sides were common in intent, the contract could have even greater effectiveness for each. Thus, the highest kiss contract could, after the Star General became a complete Star General, purportedly allow Star Master and Star Maiden to go everywhere as lovers, inseparable. Of course, this inseparability was useless to the absolute majority of Star Maidens and Star Masters. After signing a contract, each very rarely separated. They were not as abnormal as Su Xing, having so many Star Maidens, roaming far and wide during the end of the third phase. A star crest was carved into Bai Yutang's spotlessly white forehead that flashed and reflected upon Su Xing's forehead. The gorgeous light rays, markings, and mirages circled around, illuminating the entire hall. Gu Tong fell into Sun Xinyue's bosom, sobbing, actually like a mother unwillingly watching her daughter get married off. Although she was saddened, seeing Bai Yutang able to find a master she could believe in, she was still happy. Tonger, actually, you can also follow this man. Although you will not be able to sign a contract, looking after Tang Tang is great. Sun Xinyue consoled her. Wu, no, Gu Tong wiped her eyes, mournfully saying, how could a mother marry off her daughter, and then go become a concubine? Li Bailian giggled. Is Su Xing not Bai Yutang's papa? Mistress and he are a married couple. This old lady does not have a husband. Bastard. Gu Tong wiped her nose, so sad. Ah. Suddenly, Li Shuangfei and Zhou Ke let out sighs. Gu Tong looked and cried even more sorrowfully. As it turned out, at the final juncture, Bai Yutang's little tender lips kissed Su Xing's. Seeing a 7 or 8-year-old little girl kiss him, Su Xing felt full of guilt. However, it was too late for him to think more of it now. The originally illusory sight now was seemingly substantial as it scuttled to Su Xing's forehead. A scorching hot blade carved somewhat painfully against Su Xing's forehead. Fortunately, Su Xing had already signed contracts with 9 star generals and was already accustomed to this. Seeing everything, Niangzi was in a corner, showing a near imperceptible grief. Gongsun Huang looked at her. She blinked and floated over, sitting on her shoulder. Let alone that Gongsun Huang's age was small, this action still had an elder sister's qualities. Niangzi very quickly stored away her expression. At this time, the light slowly faded. Bai Yutang slowly opened her eyes, her gaze timid. Su Xing's eyes carried a warm smile, and he hugged Bai Yutang tightly against himself. Gu Tong endured her urge to cry. Her daughter was happy, she could not shed tears. Congratulations, you have to take good care of our Tang Tang. If you make her feel wronged, the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion sisters will not let you go. Li Shuangfei sternly said. Tang Tang, take good care of Papa. Zhou Ke, Li Bailian, Gu Tong, and the other women one by one told Bai Yutang. This scene looked somewhat moving to Su Xing. Bai Yutang's eyes were red. Tonger. Sun Xinyue suddenly said. Gu Tong twitched her lips. She walked before Su Xing and took out a transparent astral stone. This is the betrothal gift our Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion sends you. In the future you must take good care of Tang Tang, keep it for yourselves. Su Xing shook his head. He knew that the future star duels would be even more dangerous. At that time, perhaps if the Star Maidens without contracts had peak martial force like Lu Junyi or Lin Chong, otherwise, they would not escape the fate of a starfall. I have enough strength to protect her. I don't want to see Tang Tang's mama and elder sisters hurt. This old lady gives you her daughter's dowry, yet you still refuse without regard for law or morality. Gu Tong roared, forcing this astral stone onto Su Xing. Su Xing naturally disliked this scene of hurt. Suddenly, a divine light shone. Do you all want to sign a contract with me? His words astonished everyone. Gu Tong and the other women were each taken aback. They looked at Su Xing, thinking, did this guy go insane after marrying? That wife is bright star 10 feet of blue Niangzi, my 9th star general. Su Xing directly introduced. Niangzi's forehead glowed with a star crest, and at the same time, Su Xing's forehead twinkled. Boom. At this instant, the spring breeze drunken rain pavilion was absolutely silent, more silent than a tomb. What did you say? Your 9th star general. Gu Tong nearly forgot herself. Then Tang Tang, is my 10th, Su Xing smiled. Stupefied. Everyone was stupefied. This sort of matter was unprecedented, unheard of. 10-star generals, were they dreaming? Even if they were dreaming, this was rather too preposterous. Then they, each of them have something to do, and there is still 1 more month until we reunite. At that time, you can then see them. Gu Tong found she was incapable of using words to describe her current shock. Her entire voice became a scream of disbelief. Yaha, you did not get things wrong, did you? Just what sort of person are you? A star master who hopes to end the star duels. Silence. Gu Tong and the others stared at each other. Would you be willing to sign contracts with me? Su Xing's invitation really was not a joke, but came from his sincerity. End these star duels together. The third phase Evil Smiting Hall was on the verge of ending. After this, the curtain would raise on cruelty. No matter how Female Tiger and the others worked together, when faced with a heavenly star, they were no more capable than pulling against a crazy tide. On this point, Gongsun Huang was a lesson. Su Xing thought that Gu Tong and the others would agree. Regardless of perspective, this was something of absolute benefit without downsides. Each took what they needed, with no reason to oppose. In actuality, Gu Tong, Bailian, and the other star generals did not have a bad impression of Su Xing at all after yesterday's bridal prices. The contracted earthly stars of the star maidens acted as they felt, let alone that abnormal star masters of strength as valiant as Su Xing's to the point of defying the natural order could not be found even with a lantern. How could Su Xing have anticipated that matters would not be as he had thought? Gu Tong and the others were silent for a while, and then Gu Tong shook her head. Why? Su Xing did not understand. Because you are incapable of contracting us. Sun Xinhua lightly smiled. Won't you try? Su Xing did not understand her assertion. No need to try, after contracting Tang Tang, you truly have 10 stars contracted altogether, correct? Gu Tong asked. Su Xing nodded. Then do you know how much your contracted star maiden limit is? Gu Tong asked once again. Su Xing never thought of this before. Because in his subconscious signing contracts always happened with a tailwind, he did not feel there was any limit. Is there a limit? Of course there is a limit, otherwise, one star master could contract countless sisters. Then would there be any use for star duels? Gu Tong pursed her lips, her eyes carrying slight frustration. Then how many do you say I can contract? Su Xing was perplexed yet interested. Gu Tong looked at Su Xing. She drank a mouthful of wine and said nothing. Sun Xinhua replied in Female Tiger's stead, 15 star generals. This is the final limit of your star duel covenants with star maidens. Liked it? 15 star generals. This is the final limit of your star duel covenants with star maidens. Su Xing was stunned. There was a sort of feeling of his previous freedom immediately crumbling. Why do you say this? Su Xing was not convinced, or perhaps he was unwilling to believe this fact. We opened a restaurant, and we have heard much information about the star duels. Could it be that previous star masters were also capable of unlimited contracts? Su Xing's expression was stern. Niangzi also drew closer to her dear husband. This actually has not been heard of, however. Do you know of the 7 Stars Assembly? Sun Xinhua thoughtfully smiled. The 7 Stars Assembly. The 5th phase of the star duels, and also the last phase. After thinning out the herd to the final 7-star masters to ascend Maiden Mountain, they will fight for hegemony to obtain the Star Duel's final wish. How could Su Xing not know? This was so oft repeated about the Star Duels that all star cultivators had committed it to memory. However, Su Xing did not understand how this and his unlimited contract limit being actually only limited to signing 15-star maidens were related. Could it be? Su Xing wrinkled his brow, suddenly thinking of something. Sun Xinyue's eyebrows rose. Have you thought of it? That's right. In the past, there have already been countless people who have attempted to unravel the mystery of Liangshan's star duels and star maidens, but genuine materials can be counted on fingers. However, the Black Turtle territory has a saying, the reason why there are battles in the star duels is because Maiden Mountain has a forbid dance limiting the number of people. Su Xing did not have anything to say. Each star master contracts 1 star maiden. Add on a single special double contract, this means that the final 7 stars assembly can have 15-star generals ascending Maiden Mountain. This is the final limit of the star duels. Sun Xinyue softly said. Su Xing's heart was complicated. He naturally understood Sun Xinyue's meaning, since 15-star maidens was the limit for entering Maiden Mountain, then his contract limit also was derived from this, but how believable was this? Who knew? But, Su Xing also was hesitant. Although, he clearly knew that he should not be deceived by completely baseless speculation, any way it was put, he was a world-crosser. Of Liangshan's variables, this rule perhaps could not necessarily be established on him. After all, his contracts with 10 stars was inherently unable to be found anywhere. But if he actually was capable of contracting 15, the first one Su Xing thought of was Wu Xiao. Wu Xiao was unwilling to sign a contract with Su Xing, but the two had long already surpassed the intimacy of Star General and Star Master. Su Xing also had the idea that at the final juncture of the star duels, no matter what, he would make Wu Xiao become his own wifey in name and reality. He did not want to see a melodramatic tragedy show. If he truly was limited to 15-star generals as Sun Xinyue and the others surmised, seeing Su Xing's eyes beginning to shrink, Sun Xinyue twitched her lips, very excellently concealing her disappointment. The Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion's other star maidens each looked at one another. Let's contract then. These 3 words, with a voice like thunder, shook apart this brief silence. Gu Tong, Sun Xinyue, and the other star maidens were each astonished. They looked in shock at Su Xing, and the Tang Tang against his chest also lifted her gaze. Limit, that is not the end. Su Xing smiled, fearlessly saying this phrase. His ease and self-confidence made Gu Tong feel a rush of excitement. Are you thinking that however more you can contract is fine regardless? Li Shuangfei pondered. Her guess was not at all without reason. Now that 3rd phase Evil Smiting Hall was already about to end, at this point, contracted star maidens naturally were very common to find. This was not a lost opportunity. I am but preparing to sign a contract with my wifey, Wu Xiao. Su Xing smiled / Wu Xiao. Wu. 2, Gu Tong and the others blinked, and they were suddenly startled. You could not be speaking of Harm's star pilgrim Wu Song. Su Xing cheerfully nodded. Who are you kidding? How can Wu Song possibly sign a contract with you? Wait, you said you contracted 10, and that you do not have the support of a great sect, just what kind of person are you? Suddenly, Gu Tong thought of something. Purple Thunder Monster, this is what people seem to call me. Su Xing smiled. 3. Gu Tong felt she may have still been in a stupor. Otherwise, how could such a preposterous matter occurring first thing in the morning? Even those documents and stories were not so fantastical. The Purple Thunder Monster. These 4 words made the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion incredulous. Even the calm and collected Shi Meng unavoidably had the same expression as the rest of her sisters, dumbstruck. So it was this all along. By doing so, all of the explanations were connected. 10-star maidens, able to possess martial arts that could contend against a star general. If he was the Purple Thunder Monster that had contracted the Lin Chong that never signed a contract in 1,000 years. Everything made sense. Tang has found a good papa. Li Bailian's smile was a gently swaying flower. How about it? Are you willing to sign a contract with me? Su Xing asked once again. Do you not wish to sign a contract with that harm star Wu Xiao? Sun Xinyue said thoughtfully. Could it be you do not want her anymore? Of course I want her. Even Maiden Mountain cannot stop me from marrying her, however, your servant does not believe in this limit. Even if there actually is a limit, if worst comes to worst, I won't ascend Maiden Mountain. Su Xing trampled on the rules. All of the star maidens were moved. Your servant is somewhat moved. Sun Xinyue admitted to the sister, from this perspective, we have been taken advantage of, your servant actually feels that she was taken advantage of by you. Su Xing perspired, was this the legendary backwards logic? This old lady likes you, but I will not sign a contract with you. The sisters that wish to ascend Maiden Mountain with this man can go. Gu Tong sat on her chair, sipping wine. The other star maidens glanced at each other, smiled tacitly and all shook their heads. What, are you afraid? Su Xing shook his head. You dare make that bet? I admire your courage. I am confident that a courageous man will be the one capable of achieving great things, but we do not dare make that bet. Gu Tong was very direct in her answer. She stared blankly at the tiger on her shoulder that jumped onto the table and drank wine. We 6 sisters have never been separated since opening up shop, so your good intentions, we appreciate them. Sun Xinyue's hands propped up her chin as she smiled. Don't you want to look after Tang? Su Xing asked. With a papa like you, do we still need to worry? You had better set aside the quote for your wives. And, that Lu Junyi is pretty good. Oh, right, shall we give you introductions to the 3 Ruans and Shijin? They have not signed contracts, and we know where to find them. Gu Tong said with interest. Su Xing sighed, are you sure? Exactly, since you can contract so many sister, it can be deduced that Chao Gai will not let you go. You worry about yourself first. Seeing Gu Tong and the other 6 star generals already make their decision to not sign contracts, Su Xing had nothing he could say. Since this is so, I won't insist. You honestly are an understanding man. Such a star master, if there were more, that would be better, Gu Tong faintly said. But how could the environment fermented over Liangshan continent's 1,000 years of star duels be changed? Today is a happy day for Tang. Do not talk about these upsetting things. There is still one more bridal price, Su Xing, do you wish to pay it? Gu Tong was stern, her eyes narrowed in happiness as she asked. Ever since she knew that Su Xing contracted multiple stars and issued an invitation, the expression female tiger looked at Su Xing with was much warmer, unlike her conflict from the very beginning. There is another bridal price? Su Xing smiled. 7 times the bridal price, add on there is only 6 of us sisters, you have only paid 6. Naturally, you are missing one. Gu Tong pointed to each of the sisters. Say it then. Su Xing said. This bridal price is not ours. It is Tang's. Gu Tong said. Tang. Su Xing looked at Bai Yutang. The girl was also at a loss. Tang's dark rank wine, seemingly drunk and stupefied, 5, is only missing the final brewing ingredient, however, we have no way to help her obtain it. To the extent that the 3rd phase is already ending, we are still unable to let Tang brew the seemingly drunk and stupefied. Since you are her papa, it should be by rights that you help her. What material is it? Su Xing asked her. Baby's breath, 6, Gu Tong concisely named the material. Tang's wine brewing results were very powerful. This dark rank, seemingly drunk and stupefied, could make heavenly stars use their corresponding dark ranks. There were no after effects, and it was for this reason these wine brewing materials were very hard to find. Now that Su Xing had 10 stars. If he could have the support of Tang's wine brewing, he would be like a tiger that had grown wings. Just seeing this result, Su Xing made his decision. However, this material was located in a dangerous zone. The Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion's 6 sisters could not do even by teaming up. Then I'll go. Su Xing smiled and said. Before he left, Su Xing once again said with great care, Gu Tong, I feel maybe you ought to move. The Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion was so ostentatious, in this region known to everyone. Now that the 3rd phase already was nearing its end, the probability that the 6-star maidens of the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion were not being eyed was 0. The Black Turtle Territory's devil palaces were numerous, and recalling Great Sage Starkiller and Guaning, Su Xing was even more sick at heart. For this reason, he previously wanted to sign contracts with them. Starfall, what is there to be afraid of? Gu Tong and the others scoffed at death. To be able to open shop with great fanfare, they already made their psychological preparations. I mean this. Su Xing did not want to see this sort of thing happen. There is no need for you to worry about us. We naturally have considerations. The 3 wands that we just mentioned to you, we shall go there. Gu Tong waved her hands. The 3 wands, huh? There was some friction between Su Xing and the 3 wands, however, the influence of the 3 wands was extensive. The Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion's 6 stars going there was not a bad choice. If you ever change your ideas, you can find me anytime. Su Xing said. You truly are so maudlin. Are you my husband? Gu Tong was powerless. Su Xing smiled. He said to Tang Tang, Tang Tang, let's go. Bai Yutong was reluctant to part, looking to her mama and elder sisters. Then, Su Xing's riding sword then flew into the heavens. Take good care of our daughter, you bastard of a man. Gu Tong used a lioness from Hedong roars at the sky. They are gone. Yes. Mistress, could it be we are actually going to the 3 wands? What Su Xing said is logical. Now that Tang Tang has been married to a man so defiant of the natural order, this old lady can finally be at ease. Do you wish to go? Finding Shi Jin is not bad either. Great Saint Starkiller would not dare provoke her so easily. In actuality, Mistress can sign a contract with Su Xing. You are Tang Tang's mama, anyways, right? Such a good man is hard to find in Liangshan continent. Bailian is even wet, you are love-struck. What, are you giving up on this old lady? Gu Tong feigned anger. We will still rely on Mistress to feed us. The girls laughed. All right, we ought to open shop for the day. Let us plan more and then see. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.